but that's all in the past. This is the new beginning. The winner of this game goes against the BC Lions in the Western Final. Now let's go upstairs to Mark Lee and Glenn Suter. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Steve. Sean Fleming getting set to kick it off for the Eskimos in the final battle of Alberta in the Millennium. And Marvin Coleman takes it at his own 17-yard line, cuts through the hash marks, still going, gets outside across the 35, and finally brought down at the 39-yard line, a 57-yard kickoff and a 21-yard return as Dave Dickinson makes his first start in the playoffs as a starting quarterback. And he has a fine backfield to work with, Glenn.
Absolutely, and Kelvin Anderson is the key. Quite simply, he has to touch the rock to get any success out of this Calgary offense. 9 100-yard games, they haven't lost. Alan Pitts, the key on offense, and if they need to go to the wideout, it'll be Travis Moore.
Moore and Pitts, the top 2 ranked receivers in the country this year. The first time in 20 years that's happened, not since Waddell Smith and Brian Kelly in Edmonton. Here's Anderson around the right side, forced out of bounds shy of the 45-yard line. Torrey Hunter, the quarterback, making the tackle, and there's already some pleasantries being exchanged at the Eskimo bench.
Well, yeah, these two teams would get in a fight if they were playing checkers. This is the defensive line, the key. Doug Peterson back in the lineup after missing 2 games with the bulging disc. In the linebacking core, Terry Ray has had a great season. Was their nominee for defensive player. Pressure will be on Torrey Hunter to cover Travis Moore and Anthony and Fogle on Pitts.
2nd and 4, Stampeders. At their own 45, Dickinson back to pass. Time downfield is complete to Vince Danielson. Breaks a tackle and keeps going. Danielson finally forced out of bounds. Very close to the 30-yard line of the Eskimos. Playing in this game, Glenn, with a bursa sac injury in his knee, but you wouldn't know it as he went on the romp there.
Didn't practice all week. He had the knee drained early in the week and then practiced late. But he said in a game like this is no problem. You don't even feel the pain. The adrenaline's pumping. It's the biggest game of your career at this point. You're going to be in the lineup, and a nice catch over the middle to get things started for the Calgary offense.
A 34-yard gain for Danielson. The Stampeders threatening here on their first offensive series. Dickinson in the shotgun. Down deep again. It's Pitts. He's got it. And hauled down at the goal line.
When you talk about Alan Pitts, you talk about his great speed, his great hands, his ability to find the open area in the defense. One thing that not a lot of people talk about with Alan Pitts is his courage. He's going down the seam, and he knows that in the middle of that field, the safety, Chris Hardy, is sitting there waiting to try and put the hit on him. And yet he goes up, exposes his ribs, and comes down with a huge catch to get the Calgary Stampeders knocking on the door.
Glenn, is a 30-yard gain, so a 30-yard gain and a 34-yard passing completion. Pitts and Danielson have Calgary on the Edmonton goal line. 1st and goal at the 1. 4 running backs in the backfield. The handoff, Anderson, touchdown, Stampeders. And just like that, the Stamps make mincemeat of the Edmonton defense.
Well, I love the series because they pulled out all the stops, the Calgary offense. They went with Kelvin Anderson in one running play to start the series and then went down the field vertically throwing the football from Dave Dickinson. If there was any question about the health of Dave Dickinson, I think he answered it in one series.
Dickinson, of course, has been here before. 1997, he had to come in to relieve Jeff Garcia, pass for 292 yards in the semifinal loss to Saskatchewan. The point after attempt is good by Mark McLaughlin, and on the first series of the ballgame, the hometown Stampeders, the men in black, open a 7-0 lead on Edmonton. Kelvin Anderson with his 9th rushing touchdown of 1999 and a 7-0 lead, Calgary.
Oh, yeah. Kelvin Anderson started the drive with a little run to the outside, and he finished it, and this is pure adrenaline. When you can jump that high and get over the pile and get in the end zone. This is the first series of the game. You still have butterflies at this point, and Anderson kind of looked like a butterfly going over the top.
You was waiting for that, huh?
Happy Kelvin Anderson with the game's first touchdown as Calgary opens with a huge volley. Dickinson had perhaps his best game of the season against Edmonton in Week 10, and he's started on the same note here. Donnie Ashley at his own 10-yard line to take the kickoff from Calgary. He broke one for 92 yards against Montreal, but he's brought down across the 25-yard line, an 18-yard return before Kevin Johnson got his hands on him. And Nealon Green makes his first start in playoff action. And he'll have the two big backs in the backfield. Sean Millington, 225 yards just 2 weeks ago against Saskatchewan. Terry Vaughn, his 5th consecutive season over 1,000 yards. And an offensive line that's been nicked. St. Germain, Elmash Tube, and Morris were all questionable at one time during this week of practice. In the shotgun.
Can't miss a game like this, though.
And there's a fumble right off the bat. Green picks it up, and he's tackled. Maybe some nerves on the first exchange in that same play you were talking about in preparation for this, the shotgun handoff.
Well, this is the formation they like. One back in the backfield. This time it's Millington. The snap is clean to Nealon Green. Now his option is either to give it to Millington or take it himself to the outside. It looked like there was some indecision on the part of Nealon Green. He put the ball too high. Millington got it up in his shoulder pads and couldn't control the handoff.
The loss is 2, 2nd and 12. Just the way the Stampeders want to put this quarterback. 2nd and long. The pass is complete to Millington over the middle. He struggles, but will be short of the first down, close to the 35-yard line.
Well, whenever you play a team like Edmonton that run the ball as successfully as they do, the pressure is on the front four. Steve Anderson, Jermaine Miles will be the key, keeping Nealon Green in the pocket. Alonzo Johnson and Kevin Johnson will spy Green at times throughout this game when they play zone defense. Greg Frere's the all-star at safety, and Hampton and Kellogg have had tremendous regular seasons.
Wally Buono says his secondary plays the best zone defense in the CFL. We expect to see a lot of that today as they try to confuse the young Green at quarterback. Fleming with a towering punt, driving Coleman back inside his own 20. Gets a seam, trips on the turf, and comes down just shy of the 30. A 56-yard punt from Fleming and an 11-yard return, but there are flags on the play.
56 yards on the punt. Martin got 10 before the start.
Dickinson back out for his second series after a great start, engineering that first series touchdown. Here's Ken Lazarick with the call.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Edmonton, number 29, first down.
Casso Nelson nailed with a little bit of adrenaline, a little bit too much emotion to start the game, got an unnecessary roughness. That'll give Calgary a lot better field goal position, or excuse me, field position to start this drive.
Look at that, face masking.
Yeah, Casso Nelson with the hand up in the face.
Kellogg. So not a pretty picture for Picasso Nelson as Calgary gets great field position at their own 45-yard line. Handoff, Kelvin Anderson is dropped immediately by Doug Peterson, who's back after missing 2 weeks with a bulging disc in his neck. That sounds risky.
Yeah, it really does sound risky, but you would have to be, have no leg to keep Doug Peterson out of the lineup. And what he brings to this Edmonton huddle is not only a veteran that can calm things down, especially when they get behind early like they are here, but also some intensity, because look at those eyes.
He came back because he thought this team needed leadership, he said. And he is intense. Dickinson steps up across the middle. It's complete to Marcus Dowdell. And he's very close to center field, and a bad whistle there from one of the officials. Very close to the first down for Calgary, the former Edmonton Eskimo who was released at training camp.
Well, one of the worries for Calgary and Wally Buono coming into this game was whether or not his team would be complacent, whether or not they'd be looking past the Edmonton Eskimos because of their bad record this year in the regular season. But when you're playing Edmonton, you don't have to worry about that. They'll get up for it.
Well, they obviously respect that Edmonton defensive line because it's third and about a yard at center field, and Calgary will not take any chances. The Gizmo back to return this punt from Tony Martino. Had 2 blocked in successive games by Edmonton by Andre Batson, but gets a bomb away to the 5-yard line. Here's the Gizmo. And not many on the return. A 51-yard punt and just an 8-yard return as Jason Clement puts the grab on the Gizmo. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium, where Nealon Green and the Edmonton offense is set to go on offense. They've shown this year that they need to rush for 200 yards a game if they're going to win.
Yeah, they'll put Troy Mills in there. He's the first option. Then they get Green to the outside. It stretches the defense. The ends have to contain Nealon Green. That's the key to them.
Passing on first down way over top of Terry Vaughn's head and incomplete. The Eskimos have shown a tendency, especially deep in their own end, to run on first down. Here they're mixing it up.
Yeah, they've got to try and mix it up a little bit and get Terry Vaughn involved. But this is the formation, just to go back one more time to why Nealon Green likes to run the ball out of this formation. Here it is again. Troy Mills up the middle, the first option. Green can either give it to Mills or Millington and keep it to the outside. That's the option there. Now, it keeps the ends honest. They have to stay upfield and keep contained. That leaves 3 guys left in the middle on defense to take care of 4 gaps. It stretches the Calgary defense and makes it very difficult.
2nd and 10, Edmonton. Flat pass. Walters has it, but won't go anywhere as he's swarmed by Calgary. The gain may be won. Sutton the first to make contact.
This is the Calgary defensive game plan. What they want is to get Nealon Green passing the football. We showed you a formation that he likes to run it out of. When he runs it out of that and has success, it's huge for the Edmonton Eskimos. What Calgary want defensively is to make them do this. Get in the pocket, read the defense, and throw the football. They feel if they get them doing that, they'll win this game.
They're also starting Edmonton on the long field, and that's another key factor on a team that likes to run the ball with an inexperienced passer as Don Matthews, Nealon Green. Standing at his own 1, it's Fleming. Coleman, the lone man back for Calgary to return this punt. Nearly blocked. Coleman takes it at the 50 of Edmonton and is hammered quickly. A 4-yard return, but good field position for the Stampeders. Travis Moore, the fleet receiver for the Stampeders, narrowly missing a block punt there.
Boy, we'll watch this throughout the game because Edmonton have had problems blocking and punt formation, and he's coming to see 83 to the left of your screen, coming off the edge. He came very close to blocking that Sean Fleming punt.
Here comes Calgary. 1 back in the backfield. It's Anderson. Play action pass. Dickinson rolling right. Looks for Danielson, but it's overthrown and incomplete as the ball sails out of bounds.
Very good decision by Dave Dickinson to roll out, see that his man is covered. See, when you roll out as a quarterback, you're really eliminating half of the field. So you only have a choice of 2 receivers once you get outside. So when Dickinson got outside, he saw that his 2 receivers over there were covered. He wisely threw that ball out of bounds.
Stampeders have won 8 of 11 games started by Dickinson this season. He's been bothered by injured shoulders, both left and right, an injured knee. He put off surgery to play this season. And here he is in his first playoff start. Down the middle. Pitts has it. Bobbled it. No good. It's incomplete. As Terry Ray thought maybe he'd scoop up a fumble.
I'm not sure that he did. It looked very close. I'm not sure if it didn't bounce off Alan Pitt's shoulder pads as he went down into Terry Ray's hands. The ball is a seam pattern right into the hash marks down the seam. He juggles it initially. Now, did that ball touch the ground or his leg?
It looked a lot like the touchdown pass he caught in Hamilton 1 week ago.
Well, here was another look at it. Now, did that touch his leg?
I think you're right, Glenn. The punt from Martino out of bounds at the Edmonton 13-yard line. A 34-yarder. Another look at that so-called incomplete pass.
Well, did the ball touch the ground or Alan Pitt's leg? Now, the ball is up around his shoulders and his hips. We lose it there for a second. Touched his foot and bounced up off his other foot. That should have been an interception for the Edmonton Eskimos. Very tough to call for the official. Obviously, that happened so quickly, but the super slow motion replay makes it a little easier.
Once again, the Eskimos are backed up. Inside their own 15, it's Mills with his first carry of the ball game, looking sharp. He's back after missing a few weeks with a broken bone in the back of his left hand. And former Eskimo Jim Sandusky sent a pair of specially made gloves to Edmonton this week with a pad that's supposed to allow him some protection in the back of the hand. There you can see it. It's the right hand, and there's a plate. He's supposed to take the shock off the bone.
He's adjusting it, and he's got to make sure that one of the question marks here will be, will Troy Mills have trouble handling the football just coming off that injury?
2nd down and 4. There's the handoff you were talking about, Glenn, and it's a 1st down. Mills powering his way right through the middle of the Calgary defense.
This is the series that we drew up for you. Troy Mills gets the ball up the middle in this play, but you'll watch Nealon Green will keep the fake going to the outside. That's just to keep him honest. See, watch the fake. Now, Nealon Green gives it to Mills this time. He continues to the left of your screen. Mills takes it up the middle. Now, as this series continues, he'll fake it to Mills and take it to the outside.
Bit like a shotgun double option play. The gain was 7, and the first down of the game for Edmonton. There's Mills again, drilled. Jeff Traversy making the tackle and a big hit. He celebrates that one at the 25.
One of the reasons the Calgary Stampeders can't overlook Edmonton, and they know it, is because right here on Labor Day, they lost to this team. Here's the same sort of play, right up the middle and Green to the outside. And in that game on Labor Day, Troy Mills rushed for 127 yards.
Green seems to be keying a lot on Daryl Hall, watching whether he slants in or goes wide. Now an audible. 2nd and 9. Green with all kinds of time across the middle. It's complete to Ed Hervey, and another 1st down for the Eskimos. And so Nealon Green looking sharp at picking that pass play up.
It was a sharp read by Nealon Green. I'll tell you why. Because the Calgary Stampeders played a combination coverage. They played zone defense to the wide side of the field or to their right, and then they played man defense to the left. Nealon Green recognized it, and see his receiver Ed Hervey come across the field. He's going into the man side, and there's no one back over there.
The gain is 11, and another Edmonton 1st down. At their own 38. There's the handoff. No, it's a fake, and it's complete to Vaughn. And another 1st down. Great execution in the backfield.
Here we go again, and this is exactly the same series we talked about. This time, the fake goes to Mills. Now, instead of Nealon Green running the football, he has the 3rd option, and that's to throw the football. But you see all the time he has out there? He has a choice. I can throw it to Terry Vaughn, or I can run it. And here's how it's created. It's created because of the fake to Troy Mills. You remember 3 times previous, Troy Mills got the football there.
19-yard gain to the former Stampeder Terry Vaughn, and a 1st down across center field. Mills is trapped on the blitz by Jermaine Miles, and a loss of 1 on the play.
Well, one way you can try and eliminate the options that Nealon Green is throwing at the Calgary defense is to blitz everybody and fill the gaps. And that time, Calgary's Mike Roach decided to fill the gaps with a secondary blitz. I'm talking about Jack Kellogg off the edge, number 3. See, all the gaps are canceled. You got the secondary up there, you got your defensive line in the backfield, and penetration will stop running play.
2nd down and 11 now with that loss of 1. The Eskimos now with a 6-receiver set. Green, straight back to pass, pumps once, looks for another man. Still alive. Now using his scrambling ability, downfield. It's intercepted. Daryl Hall picks it off for Calgary. And so the Eskimos with their 1st turnover in Calgary.
Nealon Green in the last play was confused by great disguise by the Calgary defense. Watch Greg Frere show blitz and then drop out of the middle of that defense. When he does, Nealon Green holds the football. See, he wants to go to his right. Says, wait, that's not the coverage I expected. Now he's on the run, and he makes a bad decision at the end of that scramble.
So the Stampeders take over after that interception by Hall. Kelvin Anderson, the ball carrier. There's Frere, who a few years ago was dumped from Winnipeg. Thought he was finished, and he's had a great career. And Daryl Hall, who's one of the hybrids, that outside position in the CFL. The speed to make the interception deep for Calgary.
Daryl Hall has his hands full this afternoon because he's going to have to adjust to the receiver set of the Edmonton Eskimos when they get in 2nd and long.
2nd and 5. Play action. Dickinson out of the backfield. Dwayne Ford has it. then bull rushes one defender right close to the first down marker.
Takes on 3 Eskimos.
Dwayne Ford does not catch the ball very often, which is why this is a huge catch, because this is not easy for a fullback of his size. The ball is high and to his outside, and he reaches up with one hand, knocks it down into his body and hangs on, and then pounds a couple of guys, and is really the hammer, not the nail.
It's a 4-yard gain and only the 7th pass he's caught all season. And a great effort by Dwayne Ford to move the ball across the 41-yard line. And the measurement on the field right now, he has it by the nose of the football. First down, Calgary.
Just barely. And that's because of the second effort. That's what second effort gives you. You know, that second hit that Ford put on Gas? Well, when he hit A.J. Gas, that got him that extra couple of inches.
So the Stampeders stay on offense. Gas feeling the might of the 230-pound Calgary fullback. Dickinson hands off. Anderson has it across the 45-yard line.
With a gain of 3 yards.
Gain about 3 yards on the play.
Stopped by Terry Ray.
Terry Ray and Doug Peterson joining on the tackle for Edmonton.
It was an interesting regular season for Calvin Anderson. He started quickly with the first 3 games. He was averaging about 47 yards, trying to find his way. In the middle of the season, played very well, averaging around 88 yards a game. And then in the last 3 games of the regular season, that dropped in half.
Second and about 7. Dickinson. It's complete to Dowdell, makes a move at center field. Gets through Eric Edwards, and another first down for the Stampeders. This is the highest scoring offense in the West this year, Glenn, with 503 points.
Talk about a guy who would love to have a big game here this afternoon. Marcus Dowdell is one of them. When Don Matthews took over in Edmonton, there were a lot of guys that were sort of castaways. Guys that Don Matthews didn't believe could play. Well, Dowdell was one of them. He would love to prove Don Matthews wrong.
Dickinson handing off to Anderson. Quick move, twisting and turning.
Anderson is across
a short gain on the play. Once again, the leading tackler for the Eskimos, Terry Ray, and on the play.
The balance for the Calgary offense right now is outstanding. They're mixing up the run, getting Calvin Anderson involved. We talked about how important that is. 3 100-yard rushing games this year for Calvin Anderson. The Calgary Stampeders won all 3 of those games. They've got good balance right now with Anderson in the middle and a little play action mixed in.
Dickinson playing within the system in Calgary. What kinds of pressure as he takes over the helm here after players like Flutie and Garcia led them to Grey Cups. And a pass on a rope to Andre Arlane, or is it Travis Moore?
Yeah, I believe
and
it was
they're saying
Moore.
it's incomplete. Yes. The fans don't like it.
Incomplete.
Well, it was right in between coverage. I mean, a dart from Dave Dickinson, and Moore was right in the mix. Chris Hardy, the safety, comes up and hits him. Well, you can see he didn't have control as he rolled around at the bottom of the play. So
3rd and 7, Calgary.
And at the end of that one, Dickinson took a little bit of a shot from Leroy Blue and Malvin Hunter, a couple of veterans who know what the rivalry's all about.
Hands are down, hands are down.
The punt is away from Martino.
Oh,
Perfect Coffin corner punt. Going out of bounds just across the 5-yard line. A 47-yard punt from Martino. And no chance for a return by the Gizmo as Nealon Green gets sets to go on offense. Martino had trouble against Edmonton back at midseason, having a punt blocked by Batson on Labor Day and another one the following week in Edmonton. And that was shortly after his return from the NFL. Well, this was the scene.
Yeah, this was the first game. This was Labor Day, the first game that he returned from the NFL, and Andre Batson got him there, and then less than a week later,
got him again.
It looked like the replay, only it was in Commonwealth Stadium. Not a good start for Tony Martino, but he's bounced back since then.
And Wally Buono was saying that it takes time to get your timing back when you return from the NFL. The big team is in for Edmonton. Leroy Blue at tight end. Play action pass. Showing run, they'll pass. And it's just past the outstretched arms of Ed Hervey. And Green is upset. So they showed run and came up passing in their own end zone. And after 1 quarter of play, the Stampeders lead Edmonton 7-0. There's Alondra Johnson back in the lineup at middle linebacker after missing 5 weeks with a knee injury, and he will be key today for the Calgary defense. He's the point man, the man who will spy quarterback Delon Green.
We're not going to just be pass rushing up the field and allowing the quarterback to pick a lane to run through. We're going to be spying more and much more aware of what's going on with their running quarterbacks and their running backs.
Many situations, the Stampeders will try to get a pass rush, get some pressure without blitzing, using a 4-man front, dropping 8 men into the zone to try to confuse the rookie quarterback at starting.
There's the problem right there for Edmonton. 11 yards rushing so far in the first quarter. They average 42.3 in the regular season per quarter rushing the football, way below their average.
Here's Green standing at his goal line, dropping into the end zone, 2nd and 10. Showing a run now, scrambling, staying now over the line of scrimmage. Looking for the first down marker, diving, he won't get there.
He tripped. He got stuck in the turf.
Well, this is a sticky field, a brand new turf, and we've seen that throughout the course of the season, players getting footlocked.
Well, great move at the point of attack. Steve Anderson working up the field, and watch him just step up and then bounce back to the outside and get Anderson going the wrong way. But then here comes the trip right there. See how his right foot got stuck in the turf, and that's what brought him down, the old turf monster.
Rising up and felling the scrambling Green short of the first down. Coleman and Moore are back. Fleming steps out of his end zone with a high, wobbly punt. Coleman has it at center field. And not much more. He may have got just close to the 50-yard line before Charles Asman makes the tackle. A 2-yard return of a 42-yard punt. Let's go to the sidelines. Here's Steve Armisen.
Mark, hopefully you were all watching this afternoon. Earlier you saw the Hamilton Ticats over the Toronto Argonauts 27-6. Turnovers, the big story in that game. 8 of them, 8 against Toronto, 4 by Hamilton, but it was the Ticats coming out on top 27-6. Of course, it'll be the Ticats against Montreal next weekend in the CFL final in the East, and we'll have that for you, of course.
Goes with not much offense to show today on a windy, cold afternoon at Ivor Wynne Stadium.
You can't win when you get 8 turnovers.
Dave Dickinson. Going deep. Dowdell's wide open. Marcus Dowdell strutting to the end zone. Touchdown, Calgary. Rubbing that one at his former teammate's wounds.
Drive Rich Stugler, the defensive coordinator, crazy, because that's a busted coverage from the Edmonton Eskimos secondary. I mean, Marcus Dowdell is fast, but he's not fast enough to get that wide open.
A 51-yard pass and run play from Dickinson to Dowdell, and only the 2nd touchdown of the season for Dowdell, but a big one here. Dave Dickinson, who's been told all week about the pressure of succeeding the likes of Flutie and Garcia, looking cool. Building a 2-touchdown lead for Calgary. McLaughlin's point after is good. The Stampeders in control. Wally Guano and Dowdell leading Edmonton 14-0. Marcus Dowdell, one of only 2 former Eskimos in the lineup for Calgary today. Thomas Rayam, the other, savoring his touchdown catch. 51 yards to put Calgary up 14-0.
Starts with great protection because Dave Dickinson has to wait for Dowdell to open up, and it was a bust in the coverage for the Edmonton Eskimos. Torrey Hunter and Anthony Fogle both went with Alan Pitts, and that left Dowdell wide open.
Gotta watch dragging your toes on this sticky field. You could trip yourself up. Here's Ashley. Across the 30-yard line to the 35. Decent field position before Roger Reinson puts the tackle on him, the leading special teams man for Calgary. A 21-yard return. As we look again at that touchdown pass to Dowdell.
On the kick for Mark McLaughlin.
Well, the inside, see Alan Pitts there? He was the inside receiver and ran a straight, square out pattern to the sideline. Vogel took him out, and then Torrey Hunter dropped off Dowdell, and he took Pitts as well, and that was why Dowdell was wide open, and obviously Dave Dickens is going to be pretty pumped up about that.
Yeah, he's 6 for 9 and 142 yards already here early in the first half for Calgary. Green hands off to Millington, the freight train crashing his way close to the 45-yard line and very near the first down marker. 136 yards last week against Toronto, 225 the week before against Saskatchewan, subbing for the injured Troy Mills. Tremendous straight north and south running. This was the scene on the 30th October. Breaking Normie Kwong's 44-year Edmonton Eskimo record, 225 yards, 3 touchdowns for the big man.
Last 2 games, 361 yards. He has really got it together.
He'll stay in the backfield. Right through the middle, it's Mills this time. And a first down, a big first down into Calgary territory. And so the double run threat. Mills and Millington coming up big on this series, Glenn.
Well, it's one thing to draw it up, and you know that they're in a little bit of different formation here with the fullback this time, Scott Dybert. So Edmonton coming up with a bit of adjustment. See if they can get some fullback blocking help for Troy Mills. It worked on that play. It's easy to draw something up, and you know that the Calgary defense is also drawing up this offensive scheme from Edmonton, but it's another thing to have to tackle number 20.
Gain was 15 yards by Mills. He'll get it again. Cutting inside the tackle across the 50-yard line. A gain of only a couple on the play. Anderson making the tackle for Calgary.
So far, Troy Mills has not fumbled the football. He's held the ball. Of course, he's putting it in the opposite hand as soon as he gets it. So you know the hand still hurts him. The adrenaline is getting him through that.
While he's among the 5 elite running backs over 1,000 yards this year, Glenn, as he takes the handoff. And imagine, he missed 7 games this year with injury and still rushed for over 1,000 yards. Second down and 8. Passing situation for Green. All kinds of time. Millington at the sideline. It's complete for another first down at the 40-yard line. The gain is 9.
Well, so far in this game, every time that Calgary has got Edmonton in a second and long passing situation, they've made the Eskimos punt. But this time, because of great protection up front by that O-line, Elon Green has all day to find a target. And you give any quarterback in the league that much time, he's going to find somebody open. You just can't cover that long.
A lot of heart on that O-line. Elmash Tube with a shoulder injury. Morris injured his leg last week. St. Germain was also doubtful, but they're all playing nicked here today. The give is to Millington. He bobbled it at first, hung on, and then runs right into Hall for a short gain.
Well, here's the other strategy right now that the Calgary defense is looking at. The Edmonton Eskimos, when they get in second and long, will empty the backfield. What that means is get all the backs out of there and just have receivers on the field. One of the concerns for Alonji Johnson in the middle is the quarterback draw, because in the formation, that's the formation that Elon Green likes to take off and run on his own. So right now, Alonji Johnson will have to spy Green in the middle of that defense.
Second and 8. Passing situation. Nobody in the backfield for Edmonton. Green, it's complete to Donnie Ashley. He turns on the jets and gets across the 20, but flags are down. Donnie Ashley, 5 feet 7 inches tall, with all kinds of speed.
I think it's coming back.
Matthews wants to know why.
Ineligible receiver, Edmonton, number 87, second down repeat.
So Ashley lined up ineligible. And he's furious.
Well, see, Ashley was the inside position, and if Ashley is on the line of scrimmage and stationary, he makes himself ineligible. If he's backing up and running towards the line of scrimmage, this was a change they made just recently. It's called the L-guard rule. As long as you're moving forward, you're eligible receiver, but Ashley had to stop, plant his feet, and that made him ineligible to catch that football.
So a huge game is wiped out, and Ashley is still smarting. Here's Green again, flares it out. Walters has it. Across the 40, breaking some tackles. Finally, hogtied at the 35, but 5 yards short of a first down.
Ricky Walters was not going to get the first down on the play. That's what Calgary wanted them to do, is throw it underneath. But the great second effort by Walters may have given them a good opportunity for a field goal attempt, because if he gets tackled initially, it's an awful long kick for Sean Fleming. But this little move right there bought Sean Fleming another 7, 8 yards, and that makes a big difference at this point in the field.
Breaking tackles by Hampton and Kellogg. And Fleming has been iffy at best, completing just over 50% of his field goals this season. He'll attempt this one from the 43. His longest is 49. Coleman is the lone Calgary player in the end zone. Fleming puts his leg to the ball. It's good. And so the Eskimos are on the board. Sean Fleming's 43-yard field goal. It's 14-3 Calgary. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium, where Sean Fleming gets a boost to his confidence, and it's unusual to say that to a veteran player who has been a star in this league, but coming back from the NFL at Kansas City this year, he was a little shaken up.
Yeah, he was disappointed that he didn't make it for one, and the other thing is he didn't kick field goals in his NFL tryout.
Pass is complete, far side, Cummings for Calgary, and a first down as Dave Dickinson threw that ball a mile across this wide Canadian field.
Just to get back to that Sean Fleming, he was disappointed he didn't make it, and he was also not practicing field goal kicking, so he said that he admitted to me before the game that his confidence has been shaky when he came back. He went 1 for 4 in his first game, but that 43-yarder will get that confidence back in a hurry.
17-yard completion to Cummings, a Calgary first down. They stay on the ground now. Twisting and turning, Kelvin Anderson got past Terry Ray with that spin move, a gain of 7 on the play.
Well, Dave Dickinson looks real sharp in this game, and part of the reason is he hasn't hit the ground yet. During the regular season, he did his best impersonation of a crash test dummy a lot of the time. He got pounded. And the offensive line has now in Calgary started to solidify itself a little bit with the additions of Fred Childress and Thomas Raham on the right side. Now they have really got the offensive line they need, and it's starting to come together.
2nd and 3, he's more mature. Dickinson more patient. Handing off to Anderson. A first down for Calgary, still on his feet. A.J. Gass brings him down at the Edmonton 45-yard line after a gain of 6 yards. So Calgary continues to show balance on offense. Back and forth from the ground to the pass.
And you see the great control the offensive line have right there at the point of attack for Anderson. Find that little bubble to run into, and the offensive line have to play together, and it takes some time to make that happen, even if it's veterans. They're finally getting it the right time.
First down. Stampeders, Dickinson steps up in the pocket and throws it way over the head of Marcus Dowdle, and it's incomplete. There are flags on the field.
Well, he stepped up and threw it away. He definitely was not trying to complete that pass. He just felt the pressure and decided not to take the loss, but they may have to take one anyway. This looks like it may be holding. Now it's a bit of a decision, because that was first down. If you take them back, it's first down over again.
Legal block to the head. Calgary, number 68. First down repeated.
So the big chill, Fred Childress, penalized for illegal contact to the head.
Right as I talk about him, he gets a legal contact penalty. But this is a decision Don Matthews makes to get him out of field goal range. First down again. Now, it gives another down to the Calgary offense, but it does push him back.
1st and 20 for the Stampeders. Play action. Little hitch pass to Dowdell across the 50. More room. Flag to the play as he goes across the 45, 35-yard line. And a Calgary first down, but flags are down again.
Jamie Crosdale was way out there. He pulled. Alan Pitts was at the point of attack. It looks like it may be holding, and I believe it was on Alan Pitts.
Holding, Calgary, number 18. First down repeated.
Alan Pitts was the first guy out there trying to block Torrey Hunter, the corner. Torrey Hunter sort of sidestepped him, and when he did, Pitts kind of grabbed on.
All right, so the Stampeders keep moving backwards. Now it's 1st and 30. The ball at their own 45-yard line. The test of this vaunted passing offense now. Dickinson will hand it off.
Yeah.
Anderson
gets up to the 50-yard line, a gain of 5. Melvin Hunter, the tackle for Edmonton.
Yeah, if you're George Cortez right now, the offensive coordinator for Calgary, you're in damage control. You just had back-to-back penalties. You're looking at 1st and 30. It's damage control time. And now you're just trying to get out of this series almost. You know, hand the ball off a couple of times, punt the football away, and regain some of that field position.
2nd and 25, Calgary.
2nd and 25. Dickinson now facing a secondary in Edmonton that ranks 2nd worst against the pass in the league this year. In the shotgun, Dickinson, blitz from Ray, gets it away. Dowdell has it. Torrey Hunter makes the tackle, but he'll be well short, 11 yards short of the first down.
Man, Melvin Hunter nailed Dickinson as he threw that football, and Terry Ray made the dramatic play. Look at the high jump. Terry Ray over Calvin Anderson. Here's the back of the play. Melvin Hunter snaps Dave Dickinson's head back.
Dickinson going down on that right shoulder, which was the most recent shoulder injury he suffered.
And of course, that's the passing arm.
Still a plate from his shoulder pad sticking out after that rock. Martino to punt. Gets it away. He's hit by Terry Ray, and there's a flag. The Gizmo with the catch at his own 6. He'll lose a yard on the play. Arlane making the tackle for Calgary, but Terry Ray aggressive on the rush to Tony Martino.
You know, Mark, we just talked about George Cortez, the offensive coordinator for Calgary, having to be in sort of damage control when you get back-to-back penalties in your offense. This is why, because this is what can happen. You play conservatively. You get out of the series, you punt the football.
The kicker, Edmonton, number 28. 3rd down repeated.
Conservatively, punt the football. Something can happen. You kick it, and you get the ball back because of an Edmonton penalty. Now, was the leg still in the air when he's hit? Absolutely. Now, Tony Martino held it up there a little bit, contacting the kicker.
The ball is just shy of the 35-yard line stripe. 3rd and less than a yard. The Stampeders, with McCoy at quarterback, will gamble and get the first down. So Calgary goes from 2nd and 25. That penalty helps out big time as they now convert and go on first down.
And you got to think that this kind of scenario for Wally Buono now just took the life out of the Edmonton defense. Because you're looking at 2nd and 25, and the next thing you turn around, it's first down Calgary, and they're in scoring range. I mean, it's going to be tough for that Edmonton defense to respond now.
Dickinson up behind his center, Jamie Crosdale. He's averaged nearly 300 yards a game passing against the Eskimos. This one, a miscommunication. He and Travis Moore, the intended receiver.
And that's exactly what it was, miscommunication, because Travis Moore, plays like this are designed to go a certain distance. And I'm not sure if Moore went too far or Dave Dickinson threw it too late. Either way, they weren't coordinated. If Travis Moore breaks his pattern off about 4 yards shorter, that ball is right on the money.
It was open. 2nd and 10, Stampeders. Nobody in the backfield. Here's the blitz. Dickinson gets it away. Oh, and a diving effort incomplete, but there's a flag on the play. Travis Moore, again, the intended receiver for Calgary. He laid out for it, Glenn, but couldn't reach it.
Well, Dickinson had to throw it when he did because Terry Ray nailed him.
Offside, Edmonton, number 94. Second down, repeated.
Doug Peterson is called offside, and another chance for the Stampeders.
Doug Peterson got up out of his stance before the snap of the ball was inside that 1-yard area.
2nd and 5 at the Eskimo 29.
Wearing the big collar on the back of his neck. Of course, playing with a bulging disc in his neck. Suffered just 2 weeks ago.
What a hit by Terry Ray, and even though that play, you go to 2nd and 5 because of the outside penalty, it's one play that Dave Dickinson doesn't like because he had to take a huge hit. You see Charles Anthony down on the field being attended to, looked like his shoulder.
Well, he's the most experienced man in the Edmonton secondary. His 8th season. While they attend to Charles Anthony, will take a break in Calgary. Charles Anthony has now been moved to the Eskimo bench where he's still in some pain, as you can see him being attended to by the Eskimo training staff. And so while he's out, the second-year man out of Jackson State, Picasso Nelson, is in.
Picasso Nelson, when he was in BC, was a safety, not covering a whole lot.
2nd down and 5, Calgary. Dickinson completes the pitch, first down, but flags are down on the play. So a flag-filled series here for the Stampeders. They've already eaten up more than 5 minutes on the clock with this drive.
Well, penalty aided when you think about the roughing the kicker penalty on Terry Ray.
Offside, Edmonton, number 89. Decline. First down, Calgary.
So Leroy Blue protesting that call against him, but it's not unusual to see so many flags, I guess, when you've got the 2 worst penalized teams in the league going toe-to-toe here today.
Yeah, and the motions run high. I mean, especially from the veteran players. Those guys want to make a play. They need to, for the Edmonton sideline, change this momentum and do it in a hurry, and they're just letting that emotion get to them a little bit right now.
Giving the Stampeders the clock and a chance to go ahead even more. Pressure now on Dickinson. Dumps it off. Anderson with room. A first down and more. Puts his head down into Vogel. And is driven just out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Now the Stampeders are saying it's a touchdown. Dickinson protesting. But they spotted the ball at the 1. After much debate while we were away, they have indeed reversed their decision and awarded Kelvin Anderson a touchdown on that 22-yard pass and run play.
They had a conference about it. The key is when his foot touches right there, is the ball already across the plane. It looked like it went right over top of that orange cone in the corner.
McLaughlin's point anchor is good, and the Stampeders have opened a huge 21-3 lead on that 22-yard touchdown play by Kelvin Anderson. A controversial play indeed.
Well, take one more look at it. Here's the key. You got to watch his feet and then look up to the ball. Now, as he comes to the sideline, his left foot is going to step out of bounds. It's not here. Here it comes. One more step after this one now, right there. Okay, here we go. Okay, now here's the foot. The foot right there is gonna, that heel's gonna touch. Now, is that ball across the goal line right now? I think it is. It's a good call by the officials, and they talked about it. Here it is again. Now, the heel's not in. The toe right there is inbounds. The heel's not over. The ball's across the plane.
And so the officials ruling that the ball broke the plane of the end zone before his foot touched the white out-of-bounds stripe on the sideline.
There you go. We're just having a little fun,
so Kelvin Anderson with his 2nd touchdown of the game. Ending a drive that ate up all kinds of time, more than 6 minutes on the clock. 10 plays and almost as many penalties. The Gizmo is back along with Donnie Ashley to return this kickoff from Mark McLaughlin. 3 minutes to go in the first half. Ashley at his own 15. Tries to go along the sidelines, gets a break. Finally, driven out of bounds by Eric Sutton, very close to the 45.
27 yards on the kickoff return.
Sean Millington with the handoff, and he is stacked up by a host of Stampeder tacklers on that first down play. Maybe the fans still buzzing here, McMahon, on that touchdown.
Yeah, it's a great call by George Cortez to call the screen at that time, and then this was the discussion right at the end of the play. The ball crosses the plane of the goal line before Calvin Anderson steps on the white stripe. And the good thing the officials did is they talked about it, they made sure they got all the angles, and they made the right call.
2nd down and 8. Eskimos. And the flags are down.
Bruce Beaton got the wrong snap count.
League of procedure, Edmonton, number 62, still 2nd down.
Well, the penalties continuing to stack up against this Eskimo team. Beaton visibly upset.
Yeah, and he's confused about what the snap count was, and because he moved a whole hut before the real hut.
So it's 2nd now and 13 for the Eskimos. 6 receiver set. Green in the pocket. Stamps keeping him in front of him. Lots of time. Some pressure. Gets it away over the head of Terry Vaughn and very nearly intercepted Marvin Coleman in the vicinity for Calgary.
Well, that was very interesting what the defensive line for Calgary did on that play. 2nd and long, they were not going to allow Nealon Green to take off. Now, I want to show you this defensive line control their pass rush. Watch how you get up here with all these defensive linemen, but we're not going to rush the passer. We're going to control our rush. Jermaine Miles up there, so look, he's not going after the quarterback. They're standing in front of him. Keep Nealon Green in front of you is what they've been told by the coach.
Fake punt. Incomplete to Walters. He tries to one-hand the pass from punter Sean Fleming. It's incomplete. Calgary takes over in Edmonton territory. So Don Matthews digging into his bag of tricks early, trying to shake his team out of a terrible slump here in the first half.
He loves to do it, and he loves to do it in playoff games. And this one wasn't working, even if Ricky Walters catches that football out there. The Calgary defense are a veteran group. Eric Sutton read that one all the way, and even if you catch that one in the flat, there's no way you make the first down.
1st and 10,
Hands on the ball, and maybe that ball's caught, but as you mentioned, Glenn, the Calgary defense swarming on the play, and so the Stampeders take over on offense at the Edmonton 39. The handoff to Kelvin Anderson, up the middle. Grant Carter making the tackle. Let's go down to Steve.
Number 47, Carter made the stop.
Mark, coming up at halftime, we'll be talking live with the head coach of the BC Lions, who is watching this game as we speak. There's Greg. We'll be talking to him about his team and his expectations as they host the Western Final next weekend at BC Place Stadium. We'll also have Chris Walby's Pro Tips, and of course, Mark and Glenn will have the highlights of this first half here at McMahon Stadium.
Thanks, Steve. 2nd and 5. Complete to Alan Pitts. He bellies back, short of the first down to the line of scrimmage, and won't get back there. He had what looked to be a very close to a first down, Glenn, when he made the catch.
Yeah, he had to belly back to try and get to the outside. He thought if he got around Charles Anthony, he had a chance. But you know what? The one thing that this Edmonton defense is fast. You know, they're inexperienced, they're young, they haven't played together, and they fought through injuries. But I'll tell you one thing, they can really get after the football. And when Alan Pitts bubbles back here to get around Charles Anthony, you're going to see him go down right there, number 10. The swarming Edmonton defense catch up to him and hold him short.
Pitts, the Western nominee for most outstanding player. 1,449 yards receiving as Mark McLaughlin gets set to attempt this 40-yard field goal from the hash mark. It's up and wide. McLaughlin misses from 40. Gizmo will get it out of the end zone. He's got some speed outside. Dickinson cuts him down.
Dickinson makes the tackle.
The Gizmo with a burst of excitement, and Edmonton takes over.
9 yards after the miss.
Right now, get a 28-point winter checkup, oil, lube, and filter, tire rotation, and a bonus emergency road kit. All for just $29.95. Only at Canadian Tire.
Wally Buono wondering about the miscue and the poor coverage on the missed field goal. Here's the Gizmo who ran back a kickoff in Montreal 100 yards for a touchdown 3 weeks ago.
Well, in the field goal formation, you have offensive linemen covering, and Gizmo Williams is going to see when he gets up there that there's offensive linemen on the field. Rocco Romano, Jay McNeil, Fred Childress. Look at big Fred Childress. He's not going to run down Henry Williams, and that's why he's always going to take a missed field goal out of the end zone. If not for Dave Dickinson, he's doing his touchdown flip.
Dickinson took that on the shoulder, too.
See, look at the big alley that he's going to get. I mean, this is offensive linemen here trying to cover on a missed field goal.
Holding,
they just can't
Calgary,
get out.
number 26, decline. First down, Edmonton.
And there goes Gizmo. You can't ask Fred Childress to go and tackle Henry Williams. You just got to hope your kicker makes it.
Show some life for the Eskimos. The Stamps can't score. And Green will start a decent field position, his own 45-yard line. Back to pass. Pressure now. Gets it away. It's too low. Intended for Donnie Ashley. Sadly, it's the fastest member of the secondary. Right on his back.
With the coverage for Calgary.
Well, it looks like Nealon Green is going to go into his passing formation. We talked about his running formation. That's with one back. This is no backs in the backfield, and this is where he has really struggled. He struggled in the last game of the regular season against Toronto. Very ineffective as a drop-back passer, and 6 of 11, just 61 yards passing. You can see he's struggling throwing the football.
There was some talk he forgot his contact lenses last week in Toronto because he was squinting. Missed a lot of his receivers. He said it was the bad light in the sky dome. Second and long. He'll dump it off. Walters has it. Takes aim at the first down territory and then is hit hard by Marvin Coleman, 5 yards short at the 50. So a punting situation now for Edmonton.
In the Calgary defensive playbook, they draw this one up. It's called, you get them in second and long, we'll give them about 6 yards and a heading. And they actually write it in the book. They say heading. And that's playing right into Calgary's hands. That's what they want to do. Make the Edmonton Eskimos dump the football off and then come up and put a lick on them.
So Fleming will punt with 1 minute and 2 seconds to go until the half. The Stampeders leading the Eskimos handily 21-3. Coleman is back for Calgary after making that big hit, and it's a skyrocketing punt from Fleming to the 7-yard line. Coleman stops, changes his field, still going, and then is hauled down from behind by Justin Ring.
You really have to give credit, Mark, I think, to Wally Buono getting this team ready to play this game. I mean, yes, it's the Edmonton Eskimos, and you know the rivalry is always there. But it could have been easy for Calgary to look past Edmonton in this one with the record and the way they have struggled. But Wally Buono had them ready, and they have been sharp. No turnovers for Calgary. They've been crisp with the football. They're attacking the Edmonton defense, playing well on special teams.
And on the Edmonton sideline, receivers coach Danny Lansdorf and Matthews in heated discussion with the quarterback, Nealon Green, frustrated so far this afternoon. Stampeders stay on the ground. Kelvin Anderson will have 3. He stopped at the Calgary 25-yard line. 37 seconds to go to halftime.
Well, Edmonton's going to have to go and regroup here in the second half. I don't think it's too late. I don't think you have to abandon your game plan if you're the Edmonton offense. Wally Buono will simply do what he's done. Dave Dickinson will do what he's done in the first half.
You know, he's talked a lot about the pressure of coming in and taking over this team after Garcia went to San Francisco, Flutie, of course, earlier on in the 90s, and he said, you know, I'm not big on defining my career on one game or one season. I think the best quarterbacks are those who do it year in and year out. He said, you know, I don't seek the glory. I'm just a football player whose position happens to be quarterback. He's a mild-mannered leader of this Calgary offense, and so far he has been sharp in the first half.
And he's a tremendous talent, and he's a student of the game. And when you can combine that talent with the ability to study hard and learn the game quickly, you got a good quarterback.
Play action. Dowdell has it for Calgary and a first down. Again, Dickinson mixing up his plays.
It is marked down at the 35. First down yardage.
It'll be first down, and Fogel is down now at the 35.
Well, that ball came out of there, and I think Fogel grabbed it. There it is right there. Fogel grabbed it. Looks like he's hurt. Looked like he fell right on top of it, but Marcus Dowdell was ruled already down on the play. Here it is again. He's going to the outside. He's down, and then the ball comes out. The ground can't make you fumble, and then Fogel gets like the dog pile on top of him with the ball in the bottom.
Ball in the breadbasket. Out goes the wind. Dickinson deep for Pitts. Oh, he nearly had it.
Alan Pitts.
There are flags on the play.
A miraculous catch, but there's a flag in the
laying out
backfield.
with Hardy right there to put the hit on him. Can't get the ball.
Well, you know, the penalties are starting to balance out a little bit.
Legal block to the head. Calgary, number 68. First down, repeat it.
Well, that's the second time in this game that Fred Childress has been called for a legal block to the head.
Well, you know, you can blame the offensive lineman, or you can give credit to the defense, and I think it's a credit to the Edmonton defense right now
First and 20 back
that they're
at the
not
Calgary
quitting.
25.
I mean, they're way behind. They're not quitting in this game. They keep it coming.
And, you know, he's going up against Doug Peterson, who has that neck injury. And off Calvin Anderson.
Calvin Anderson, number
across
22,
to the
gets
30-yard line.
Taken
Gain
down
of
by
5 yards
A.J. Gass,
on that
number
2nd
41.
and 20 situation.
And that's right. And Doug Peterson is an intimidating force in there, and he's an intense football player. So, you know, with him and Fred Childress battling in there, the hands are going to get up in the face. They're going to swing at each other. There's going to be some fist fighting going on. And again, Childress and Peterson were wrapped up.
This will be the final play of the first half as time ticks down to 0.
And Dave Dickinson will
take the knee. And at the gun, the Stampeders own the Eskimos 21-3. Dave Dickinson methodically and with balance on offense, picking apart this Eskimo defense. Let's go down to the sidelines and hear Steve Armitage.
And I'm with the head coach of Calgary Stampeders, Wally. A solid first half for the Stampeders on both sides of the football.
Well, it's been a solid first half. I would have liked to see him got some points on that fake punt. I think that really would have put them in a bad hole.
I know the defensive game plan was to make Nealon Green throw the ball. You did that.
Well, again, the game's not over. We've taken the run away a little bit, but there's still a whole second half to go.
Wally, have a good second half. Wally Bono and the Calgary Stampeders head to the dressing room, leading the Edmonton Eskimos 21-3. This is the CFL on CBC semifinal Sunday. Stampeder fans have had plenty to cheer about here at McMahon Stadium. They saw Anderson score twice, Dowdell once, and they lead the Eskimos 21-3. Well, the winner of this game will travel west next Sunday to play under the dome at BC Place Stadium against Greg Mons and the BC Lions. Greg is standing by live in Vancouver, where he's been hosting a brunch for his team. Greg, I'd like to get your thoughts on this first half here at McMahon between the Stamps and the Eskimos.
Well, Steve, I thought it was a great game first half. Calgary obviously has been very balanced in their offensive attack, and Dickinson's done a great job of spreading the football around to the receivers, and Kelvin Anderson's done a great job coming out of the backfield, running the ball, receiving the football.
How tough did you think it would be for the Stampeders to concentrate on this one and not look past to you guys next week?
Well, I think the Battle of Alberta speaks for itself, so anytime you have the Eskimos Stampeders playing, it's going to be a hard-fought game, so I'm sure their concentration has been on the Eskimos all week.
Greg, what about your own club? You finished in first place in the West, but towards the latter part of the season, you sort of stumbled and slipped a bit. Any concern there?
Well, I think offensively we had a couple games where we sputtered a little bit, but the bottom line, this team all year long has found a way to win football games. And I think when it comes playoff time, it becomes very big in finding a way to win.
Damon Allen just doesn't seem to get any respect in BC. What's his confidence been like this past week?
Well, Damon has had a great year, and we're looking forward to great things from him in the playoffs.
Lack of consistency on offense seems to have been a bit of a problem. Is this something you've been able to address over the past week?
Well, I think getting some people healthy. We'll have Juan Johnson and Robert Drummond back, go along with Mark Knorr and all our guys offensively, and I think it's going to make a big difference. We're going to have a good football game out here next week.
If you end up playing the Stampeders in the Western Final, dealing with Dave Dickinson and his offense will be, I think, a bit of a handful. They're playing well against the Eskimos this afternoon.
Well, they're a tremendous offensive football team and good football team all the way around. They're solid, both defensively, offensively, and special teams. So we're going to have a good week of preparation, and whoever wins this ball game, we're looking forward to having a great game out here.
And offensively, how do you think you work against this Stampeders defense?
Well, we're going to have to be able to move the football both on the running game and throw the football vertically to our receivers.
Greg Mons, thanks very much for doing this. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mons and the BC Lions are watching this game live in Vancouver, and they're seeing the Stampeders lead the Eskimos by a score of 21-3. Our Canadian Airlines halftime show continues in a moment.
Pro Tips with Chris Waldy. Brought to you by Dodge.
Hey, welcome to Pro Tips. Why is it that every year Montreal Alouettes lead the league in rushing? I'll tell you why. It's the guys up front. Great trench guys. They got great fullbacks, and they got a great running back. With us today, a couple of the big ones, Michael Souls and Mike Pringle.
Well, thanks, Chris. What I'm going to show you guys today is one of our favorite running plays. It's called the M5G. Essentially, what we try and do is we ask our tackle, Uzumo Okeke, to block down on the defensive tackle, which he does. Pierre Verchevel steps out on the defensive end. I lead up through on the linebacker. I let the linebacker choose a side, and I give my back to Mike Pringle. And the rest is history. And what we'll do now is we'll do it a little quicker for you.
Hey, great tip. Now, they've answered my question why they lead the league. Have they answered your question? I tell you what, do this, set up your living room furniture, try a couple down blocks with the big boys, then you're in the big game. See you next time.
If you're a Calgary Stampeder fan here at McMahon Stadium this afternoon, you've enjoyed this one. Calvin Anderson with a pair of TDs, Marcus Dowdell with a single, and the Stampeders lead 21-3. Well, if you're a head coach at any level of football, you're constantly looking for balance on offense and defense. And Mark and Glenn, I think Wally Buono got that in the first half from the Stampeders.
Well, that's right, Steve. Dave Dickinson has featured virtually everybody, every weapon in his offense so far in the first half, passing for 214 yards already.
He has been a surgeon in this football game. He's executed the game plan that George Cortez put together perfectly, and he really has the Edmonton defense on the ropes. It all started in the very first series of the game. Dickinson looked very sharp right out of the chute. He found Alan Pitts, the tough catch right down to the 1-yard line. That set up this score by Calvin Anderson. He goes up and over the top, and that got Calgary off and running. That was the very first series of the football game. Now, Marcus Dowdell scored wide open in between, and then the controversial touchdown from the Calgary offense and Calvin Anderson on the screen pass. The question was, it was ruled out on the 1-yard line initially, and then when they took a look at it again and talked about it, they said that the ball had crossed the plane before his foot went out of bounds.
Well, certainly Dickinson is winning the battle of first-time starters in the playoffs for quarterbacks. Nealon Green, he's got to run the ball. He didn't run the first half.
No question. Credit the Calgary defense for stopping him right now, but Nealon Green's got to take off and run in the second half.
All right, we'll see if Green can get his legs going in the second half of this football game. The Eskimos trailing the Stampeders handily 21-3. Steve?
Our coverage of this CFL Western semifinal between the Stamps and Eskimos returns from Calgary in just a moment. Welcome back to the CFL Western semifinal in Calgary. I'm with the head coach of the Eskimos, Don Matthews. Don, what did you say to your club? You're down by 18 points going in the second half.
Well, we busted 2 coverages really bad in the first half, and they capitalized it. Got into a back-and-forth game, and then we just missed that fake punt. We've got to make some plays offensively, and if we don't do that, we're not going to catch up. So we're going to receive the ball, see if we can't get our offense chugging a little.
Don, good luck in the second half.
Thanks.
Dave Dickinson
and enjoying a restful halftime after a outstanding first half. 214 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and a 21-3 lead. Nealon Green, on the other hand, the quickest quarterback in recent memory in this league, ran just 2 times for 6 yards in the first half. The rest of the stats, Glenn.
Well, no question, the Edmonton Eskimos have to run the football more effectively. 48 yards is not going to get it done because that's what got him in the semifinal, running the ball. Calgary taking the time of possession by 3 minutes, and that'll start to wear down the defense in Edmonton. But the good news for the Edmonton Eskimos is they get the ball first to start the second half. That gives them an opportunity with the football to get some momentum early, and they need it.
Well, they won the toss and deferred their choice in the second half, and as you heard Don Matthews say moments ago, they'll take the ball and try and get some points. Don Ashley at his 15 is dangerous on kick returns. Makes a move, gets outside, tries to squeak through, but is tackled. Cameron Legault of Carleton University brings him down.
Number 98 made the stop. 62 yards on the kickoff from
Nealon Green coming back in his first series in the second half. As we mentioned, just 6 yards on the ground. Unlike him, had an arch injury problem, Glenn, in the Toronto game. Wonder if that's still bothering him.
Well, you know, you wonder because he hasn't run the football, and it's a very good point. You look at those passing stats, that's the difference. And coming into the league, of course, Calgary Stampeders way ahead in second passing the football, and the Edmonton Eskimos dead last in the league throwing the ball. So
here's Green back to pass. They'll stay in the air. It's complete to Tolbert on the wide side, driven out of bounds by Jack Kellogg for a first down. Edmonton.
Tolbert, number 31,
so some success through the air for Nealon Green.
And, you know, one of the reasons when we say he's not running and maybe he's still injured and is not saying, completely telling everybody about his injury, but one of the things that Nealon Green is faced with here is the way that the Calgary defensive line is rushing controlled. He does have time to throw the football. So he's back there saying, I've got lots of time. Now I just got to get crisp. I got to throw it on target.
The Stampeders using mostly a 4-man rush, dropping 8 men into the zone, making the young quarterback read. Again, he goes to the flats. It's Tolbert, and he's rocked by Marvin Coleman. Gain of maybe 2 on the play.
The other thing the Edmonton offense is doing when they do throw the football is they're throwing it to the outside of the field, outside the numbers. And it's a longer throw, and it's for less yardage. Nealon Green had to throw that thing about 40 yards for basically no gain. So, you know, it's a long throw to get out there. In order to really stretch this Calgary defense, eventually they're going to have to test the middle.
Second and 8, Eskimos.
Tolbert with back-to-back catches. The University of Alberta graduate. But another second and long situation for Edmonton. 8 yards to go to the first down. Pressure now. The pass intended for Don Ashley is incomplete and out of bounds. And so the Eskimos will punt. You know, Nealon Green has all kinds of talent. He's only 23, but the injuries this year have really affected his ability to build some continuity as a quarterback. Just when he's making strides, he got hurt. When he came back, Don Matthews said he often took a few steps back in his progress.
And that's justifiable. I mean, you get injured, you're out of the offense for a while, and it takes you a while to get back into it. I talked to Don before the game, and Don Matthews told me, he said, we can't get our passing game going. We haven't been able to all year because of all the changes we've had to make.
Coleman back for Calgary. Takes it at his own 19-yard line and is hit immediately as he crosses the 25. A 42-yard punt from Sean Fleming and a 6-yard return by Coleman as Calgary goes on offense.
Turnovers were a huge part of the story at Iverwood Stadium in Hamilton. Vaughn got in to block that one, and a couple of plays later, that led to a 1-yard run by Ronald Williams right here. That made it 17-3 Ticats. They went on to win it 27-6. So that sets up the Eastern Final next Sunday in Montreal, where the Alouettes will host Ron Lancaster and the Ticats, guys.
And the BC Lions awaiting the winner of this Western semifinal. Anderson taking the handoff from Dickinson. Robert Brown made the tackle for Edmonton.
Well, if you're going to draw it up in the East, that's what you really wanted to see. The Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Montreal Alouettes once again facing off in the final.
Rematch of last year, only this time they're playing in Montreal.
That's right.
Second and 7, Calgary.
So it'll be a 3-yard gain on the play by Anderson. 2nd and 7, Calgary. Ball on their own 29-yard line. Dickinson, nobody back, dumps it off to Anderson. Right at the first down marker, he's nailed by Terry Ray and Hardy.
Number 28, Terry Ray was there.
Very close to the first down, maybe just shy, depending on the spot, Ben.
So we've talked a lot about Dave Dickinson and the great decisions he's made in the football game, but you really have to give a lot of credit to George Cortez because he has made this offense so that the quarterback has a role, and the role of the quarterback is to distribute the football to his great talent. And this is what Dave Dickinson has done. 5 passes to Marcus Dowdell. Pitts has been involved. Everyone catches the football. And it doesn't matter if it's Mike McCoy in the game or Dave Dickinson. George Cortez has created this offense so that the quarterback just distributes the ball and let the athletes make the plays.
And Cortez has sent Mike McCoy in on this 2nd and short gamble. A sneak, he'll have yardage, but flags are down.
The way he went after that football, the bottom of the pile, looked like he dropped it. Yeah, I mean, he's at the bottom with it in his arms, so he didn't lose it.
It looks like it will be a first down as the call goes against Edmonton.
Offside, Edmonton, number 94. First down, Calgary.
Doug Peterson called for offside.
I wondered if Mike McCoy dropped the foot. Yeah, there it is. It's bouncing around on the ground. Look at that. He got a little bit lucky there. That one hit the ground right from the snap. That's why Carter dove in there and tried to rip it out. It wouldn't have mattered anyway because Doug Peterson had lined up offside.
First down, Stampeders. Ball at their own 40. Dickinson flushed from the pocket. He'll throw. It's incomplete. Alan Pitts caught going across the green. Couldn't quite twist his upper body back to get it in time. 2nd down, Calgary.
The second half of the regular season, Rich Dubler really played about 90% zone coverage, which means he was just going to rush 4 guys, see if he could get pressure with the 4, and drop everyone else into the coverage. They're doing that again in this playoff game, and sooner or later, it looks like Edmonton's going to have to gamble to try and make something happen.
Well, they were a more gambling defense early in the season. Here's another blitz, and they've got Dickinson for the first time in this football game.
And there's the gamble. Marcelo Simmons from the linebacking position came off the edge. And that's what we were just saying. Dickinson holding his shoulder. You got to sometimes roll the dice defensively. If you're going to blitz, there's 2 things that can happen. You're going to get the pressure, you're going to get there. Watch Marcelo Simmons off the corner. You're going to get the pressure, or he's going to burn you for a big play. This time, the gamble pays off for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Dickinson was favoring his right shoulder as he came off the field on that 14-yard loss on the sack. Martino's punt bounces to the gizmo at his 37. And he doesn't get much more as he's driven out of his own bench. Some life for the Eskimos as they go on offense at McMahon. Welcome back to the Western semifinal. The Stampeders leading the Eskimos 21-13. A former Stamp right there. Terry Vaughn with just 2 catches so far in this game, and he's looked a little frustrated. Glenn, you've seen him open deep.
Yeah, he's been open a couple of times in behind Calgary coverage, but Nealon Green has not been able to get him the football.
Here's Green scrambling on one hand and 2 legs, trying to stay up, but just gets over the line of scrimmage for a gain of 1 yard. Darrell Hall tracked him down.
Terry Vaughn has been very vocal this week, talking about the fact that he wants to be used more. And when you look at the regular season, boy, he got off to the great start. In his first 6 games, he averaged 7 catches a game for over 100 yards. And then in the back half of the season, it dropped to 3 catches a game for just 39. He talked about it all week. He wants the football.
All 5 seasons, he's over 1,000 yards in receiving. Quite a streak. Green passing. There's Vaughn, and he's got it. Breaks a tackle on Coleman and keeps going down the sideline. Finally driven out of bounds at the 42 of Calgary. A 24-yard pickoff. Speak of the devil.
Exactly. And this is why he's got to get the football. You think back to the game that the Edmonton Eskimos played in Winnipeg, and Terry Vaughn had 275 yards receiving all by himself, and a lot of those yards came after he caught the football. He took a big hit from Marvin Coleman and kept going for some extra yards. He makes plays.
Wow, he just clutched that ball before he took the hit to keep control. First down, Eskimos at the Calgary 42-yard line. They'll pass again in the flats. Mills breaks one tackle, stays on his feet, battles Chadwick Chris for more yardage. Stampeders claiming he was down, but it looked like he stayed on his feet. Coming out of the backfield, the game will be about 3.
Well, you know, for all the young running backs that are watching this game, Troy Mills just gave you a clinic on why you do that drill where you run with the football and put one hand down on the grass. It's just to keep your balance. This is it. Watch the hit. Take some hit down, put your hand down, keep your balance, keep your feet moving, get the extra yard.
That's his bad hand, too. Second down. Play action now. Green will pass again. It's complete to Terry Vaughn. And he's hog-tied, but a first down for Edmonton. The Eskimos finally showing some movement on offense.
Well, they've gone back to a couple things that they got him here. One is Troy Mills. That time they went back to that formation where they fake the ball to Mills, and then they do use the play action and get Nealon Green to the outside, and then go to that third one, which is the pass, and that's Terry Vaughn, and that's where you got to get him involved.
Vaughn with 1,057 yards receiving this year to lead the Eskimos. Green now looks like he's calling the play at the line of scrimmage. Stamp showing blitz. Here they come. Deep, Green intended. It's caught. Walters. Touchdown, Edmonton. Nealon Green to Ricky Walters. 29 yards, and the Eskimos have their first touchdown through the air.
Yeah, and this is when coaches around this league and players around the league look at Nealon Green. They say potentially Nealon Green is one of the future stars because he can do it. And when he makes plays like he just made, that proves that he can do it. Nealon Green read the defense, audible to exactly the perfect play.
The point after by Sean Fleming is good, and the Eskimos are back in this game, trailing Calgary 21-10. Welcome back to Calgary, where Don Matthews has a huddle on the sideline, and his Eskimo team is suddenly fired up after that touchdown pass of 29 yards to Ricky Walters from Nealon Green. He's got a good arm.
Well, first of all, you see all the Calgary defenders. They were sending the house at Green. He audibled at the line of scrimmage, called the play to Ricky Walters to the corner pattern, and Walters lays out to make the tremendous catch and bounce into the end zone. Green audibled the right play and then executed the play perfectly.
Well, a face masking call against Alondra Johnson will allow Calgary now to kick off 15 yards closer to the Calgary end zone from the 50. And Fleming will kick it high to Marvin Coleman at his own 7-yard line. Coleman in traffic up to close to the 20-yard line. Jed Roberts makes the tackle for Edmonton. The Stampeders will start on a long field.
Number 30 for the Eskimos.
Another look at that touchdown catch by Walters, which has suddenly got the Eskimos revived.
Walters is the inside receiver running the corner pattern on Jack Kellogg, and that's saying something. Jack Kellogg, Western All-Star, had a great year, the halfback position, and got in behind him. Perfect ball by Nealon Green.
Green exuberant in his celebration with the big home run. Here's Dickinson, some pressure. He'll step up now and run. Dickinson puts his head down.
Dickinson diving across the 25-yard line.
Go across the 25-yard line. They'll spot it at the 27. Gain of 8 on the play.
Well, Well, after the last series, Dave Dickinson was getting some treatment on that shoulder. Mike McCoy actually warmed up a little bit. Dickinson came in for this series, and this is something that must scare Wally Bono on the sideline to see him with a bit of a banged-up shoulder running the football and then diving head first.
And A.J. Gast bearing down. Second down and 2. Stampeders. They'll pass. Dickinson dumps it off. It's complete to Calvin Anderson. Driven out of bounds at the 31 for a Calgary first down.
One of the concerns for Wally Buono this week was that he felt in the last game of the regular season against Hamilton, his team played really well in the first half. They came out, played with intensity, and then in the second half, they kind of had a huge letdown, which is why they lost the football game. He's got to be concerned right now that his team doesn't do exactly the same thing, thinking they may have the game in hand.
Anderson with 33 yards through the air. This time he'll take it on the ground, and is stopped immediately by Doug Peterson at the line of scrimmage.
Football is a game of momentum, and right now momentum has slid over to the Edmonton Eskimos sideline a little bit.
And a loss of about 1 on the play on that carry by Calvin Anderson.
You know, one offensive play from your quarterback like Nealon Green just threw to Ricky Walters can really inspire a defense. Now they think, hey, we got a chance.
Second and about 11. Here's the blitz. It's complete. Danielson has a first down for Calgary, very close to the first down anyway, across the 40 to about the 41-yard line. The game was 11. That's what they needed. We'll see where they spot it.
And I say when you gamble defensively and you send the blitz like they sent Terry Ray, the linebacker, on that last play, you're rolling the dice a little bit, because with a guy like Dickinson who can dissect the defense, he can read that blitz and get the ball away.
First down, Calgary.
Jay McNeil just seeing the blitz from Terry Ray, just getting enough of them to knock him off stride, or he plants one right in Dave Dickinson. That's the end of the play. Danielson with the first down.
First and 10, Stampeders. Ball at their 41-yard line. Anderson with the carry, and he's swarmed and thrown to the turf by Doug Peterson, who's fired up.
That's why they want him in the lineup, because he'll make a play like that and he'll make it last for the whole series. And what I mean by that is it'll last emotionally for his defense. And he'll just step across the line and reestablish the line of scrimmage about 3 yards back in Calgary's backfield. And then that little extra part was what he'll go and tell his teammates in the huddle. See, now they're celebrating. They get fired up about that play. Carries over to this one.
Play action pass, and a miscue there as Dickinson throws it into the turf. It was 2 runs and 2 losses of 1 yard on the play, as the Edmonton defense is beginning to plug the front of that Calgary offense. Wally Buono trying to keep his troops alive. Matthews looking a bit more relaxed now. His team coming to life here in the second half.
Well, Rich Stuber has decided, the defensive coordinator, to gamble a little bit in this second half and send some pressure, and so far it's worked.
Martino's punt is away. The Gizmo has it on the run at the 35. Breaks a tackle, spins, still on his feet. Finally knocked down by Jason Clement. A 35-yard punt and a 6-yard return from the Gizmo. Shadows are long on a warm November afternoon in Calgary. 12 degrees, a 21-10 Stampeder lead, and Nealon Green has only rushed the ball 3 times. It may be a function of the way the Calgary defensive line is approaching it.
Yeah, they've got to control the rush. That's been their game plan throughout.
Green will pass, pumping. Breaks a tackle, rolls right, will go deep for Terry Vaughn. Vaughn nearly had it. Bumped by Kellogg, but no catch on the play.
No catch and no flag. And you know, it was very close. Jack Kellogg was looking back to the football. He's trying to make up ground because Vaughn had got in behind the coverage. Green had to take off because of the rush from Steve Anderson. When he gets to the outside, he sees Vaughn wide open. Now Jack Kellogg breaks on the play and bumps Vaughn right at the end of the play. Watch the little bump. See, right there is the bump. That almost drew the flag. The ref, in fact, looked like he reached to his back and then didn't pull it.
Well, if Green is content to sit in the pocket, we might see more pass rushing like that. Calgary putting pressure on Green instead of keeping him in their face. Here they come again. It's complete to Millington. Flags on the play. He's across the first down marker.
And a ref got run over. It was the umpire right in the middle of that just got floored.
There is a penalty flag down.
Took a real shot, but he's still ticking.
Against the Eskimos.
And another big play, but it's going to come back.
Ineligible receiver, Edmonton, number 25. Second down repeated.
Well, that's the second time that's happened to the Eskimos. First it was Donnie Ashley, now Sean Millington, the way he lines up.
Watch the ref in the middle of the screen there. That's the umpire, Dave Hutton. And Dave got nailed. It took him a while to regroup, but he's going to stay in the game.
Jermaine Miles drilled him from behind, trying to get to Millington.
There's bullets flying out there. You don't want to get caught in the crossfire.
First down repeated, 20 yards to go after the ineligible receiver call against Millington. Empty backfield. Expect a four-man rush from Calgary. And that's what they get. He'll flare it out to Herbie. Straight arm, driven out of bounds. Marvin Coleman in support of Eric Sutton.
Well, that play obviously is not going to get him the first down, but look to Elon Green as this game progresses to maybe pump that ball and go deep. See, he's just going to throw this one out to the right of your screen here on the hitch screen, but the next progression of this play is to have the fake to the hitch screen and have Terry Vaughn and Mark Tolbert go deep down the field and try and catch the Calgary secondary sleeping.
Stampeders dropping 8 men off in the coverage on that play. Here's Fleming to punt from his 25. Spiral taken by Travis Moore at the 35, straight up the field, and then hit hard by A.J. Gass and stopped immediately. A 41-yard punt and an 11-yard return by Moore.
Number 41. 42 yards.
Right now, get a 28-point winter checkup, oil, lube, and filter, tire rotation, and a bonus emergency road kit. All for just $29.95. Only at Canadian Tire.
Back at McMahon Stadium, the O-line, there's beaten St. Germain. Been beaten up in the last few weeks, but looking strong here in the second half. Calgary, though, on offense. Play action pass. Dickinson going deep. Complete to Vince Danielson with 3 defenders all around him. First down, Stampeders. A 22-yard gain to Vince Danielson. Playing on a gimpy knee, had a bursa-sac injury drained this week. Very painful, Glenn.
Safety Chris Hardy right there, number 8 in the middle of your screen, got caught a little bit to the wide field. When Vince Danielson runs all the way across the field like that, you got to get help from the safety. He's got to be in the middle, and Chris Hardy went a little too far the other way.
Anderson takes the handoff.
Squeezes out a couple of yards.
Gain of maybe 3 on the play. Grant Carter making the stop for the Eskimos. Carter reviving his career in the second half of the season at Edmonton after being released by the Stampeders. Seemed to be rejuvenated. 3 interceptions, 4 sacks, and a big tackle there.
Your last chance has a way of doing that.
Right.
and this may have been Grant Carter's last chance.
Sorry, released by the Bombers. What I meant to say. Dave Ritchie, Winnipeg, mid-season. Danielson one-hops, or rather, he was the intended receiver. Dickinson one-half the pass. More pressure on the play. Gass coming into his face.
Well, right now, that's what Rich Stubler is trying to do in the second half. Send A.J. Gass, Terry Ray, and Marcelo Simmons. This time, it's Gass's turn. And he's up there forcing Dave Dickinson to throw it when he doesn't want to. It's not the sack. He didn't get the credit for the sack, but what he did is he forced Dave Dickinson to throw when he wasn't ready, and he one-hopped it to Danielson.
Trying to get Dickinson out of his rhythm. That's something they couldn't do in week 10. And knowing that he's taken a lot of hits this year, they're going to try and make contact on every passing down.
Now remember, it's tough to cover when you got offensive linemen up there, and Henry Williams is the guy back if McLaughlin should miss.
Ball will be spotted at about the 46-yard line. Here's McLaughlin. Good. 46-yard field goal by Mark McLaughlin. And the Stampeder margin is 14 points. With 1:44 to go in the third quarter.
That's a big kick.
Let's go down to the sidelines now, and here's Steve Armitage.
Mark, if you'd like to travel to Vancouver, BC for the Grey Cup game in a couple of weeks, this is the number you need to call, 1-800-268-8400. Lots of good travel packages available and tickets for the 87th Grey Cup game at BC Place Stadium under the dome. Perfect weather conditions, and who knows, maybe those fans will be there to support the Calgary Stampeders in the big one.
As they begin their defense of the Grey Cup here in the playoffs. Play action now. Green knocked down. Intercepted. Alondra Johnson lumbering and forced out of bounds deep in Edmonton territory. Greg Frere's got his hand on it, and AJ. What a return after missing 5 weeks with a knee injury.
The play took too long to develop for Nealon Green. He waited too long to deliver the throw because Ricky Walters was sitting in his pattern too long, and that's why Greg Freres could come out of the middle of the field and break on that football. He knocked it out of there. And Alondra Johnson picks up the tip drill and takes it down the sideline. Big turnover for Calgary. If they can capitalize, it'll be like the knockout punch that those people that rented that fight last night didn't see.
And the pressure, enormous on Nealon Green. He had a hard time seeing where he was throwing that pass. And Val St. Germain is down on the field for Edmonton.
Well, they're banged up, and it's this point in the football game where your offensive linemen, if they're nicked, it'll start to, this is when it starts to affect you because you're pounding every single play, and those bumps and bruises start to get more and more painful as the game goes on. And Val St. Germain has been nicked, along with Chris Morris coming in and Keisham Elmastoop, so they're going to have to move David Hessman into the offensive line, at least temporarily, unless Val St. Germain can shake it off.
You see both of his knees have braces, and he's favoring the left leg. He was a doubtful starter earlier in the week. Alondra Johnson missed 5 weeks with a medial collateral ligament injury. He said he'd have fresh legs and be real healthy coming into this game with that absence.
Probably could have played last week, but Wally Buono decided to keep him out, and that's the difference right now.
Turnovers.
Yep, 3 Edmonton turnovers.
First down, Stampeders. Oh, pressure. Complete. Cummings has it. It doesn't go much more than a few yards on the gain. 3 will be the pickup. Charles Anthony making the tackle for Edmonton. So the Stampeders now threatening to put this game out of reach.
Well, this really would be the knockout punch because you get the turnover. First of all, you want to capitalize because it's demoralizing to the defense to have to go out in the field at this point.
2nd and 6. Pressure. Sacked. Dickinson is down as Terry Ray turns up the heat.
Well, George Cortez saw Terry Ray blitz in the last couple of series, and what he wanted to do was bring in Calvin Anderson. So Cortez drew it up perfectly. Here's what he's wanted. See, Calvin Anderson's going to come in and block on Terry Ray. He drew it up to block the blitz, but that's the human factor. And the human factor, Terry Ray won because he hurdled Calvin Anderson, who tried the cut block, and it didn't work.
Well, Ray at 200 pounds and enormous speed in his rookie season here in the CFL. He was saying the other day he has to use that speed to battle some of the bigger men he has to face. Field goal attempt from the 30. It's good. And so while the Eskimos prevent a touchdown, they give up 3 more, and the Stampeders open a 27-10 lead as the third quarter comes to a conclusion in Calgary.
Welcome back to Calgary. Val St. Germain is just running onto the field back into the Eskimos huddle. While he was sitting on the bench and they were checking his knees, Jackie Kellogg of the Stampeders came over to the Eskimos bench, shook his hand, and said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry." I don't think I've seen that happen too many times, guys.
Well, that's an amazing... I mean, Val St. Germain looked like he was angry as he was going off the field, looking back towards the Stampeders. Here's a replay. Cut.
Jack Kellogg took the legs out of Val St. Germain, but he shook it off. He's back in there.
Empty backfield. Shotgun formation. 6 receivers set, 4 to the wide side for the Eskimos. That's where Green will throw it, but way over the head of Ed Hervey.
And that was almost a lateral.
Yeah.
It went straight out of bounds anyway. But go back to the Val St. Germain injury. This was on the interception by Alondra Johnson, and you see 57 right there, the middle of your screen getting cut by Jack Kellogg on the interception return, and he went over there and apologized.
It is a fair block, though. Cross-body block just below the waist. But a gentleman in Jack Kellogg will say he's sorry.
Well, you never like to see anyone get hurt.
St. Germain is staying on the line. 2nd and 10. Green deep. It's complete to Rick Walters. He's still on his feet to the 50. Finally down across the 50-yard line. A big first down for Edmonton. A 26-yard pickup by Walters.
Rick Walters is that 5th receiver, and he lines up closest to Nealon Green and really can be a guy that will adjust to the coverage. He was in Saskatchewan last year, has experience in the league. This is his 6th year in the CFL, so he understands what defenses are trying to do, and he's created a target for Green.
He has the Eskimo touchdown. First down, Edmonton. Green. Complete to Talbot, close to a first down.
Has the catch. Let's look at the flag back.
But there are flags on the play deep in the secondary of the Stampeders.
Usually around the illegal contact area. The ball was thrown away from where the flag is.
Yeah, maybe too many men. Stampeders perhaps employing the 13th man on the field instead of in the stands. Wally is upset about that. Talks with George Black.
Well, what Wally will like to do on passing downs is...
Too many players. Calgary. First down, Edmonton.
What he likes to do is substitute Eric Sutton, the extra defensive back, onto the field and take out a linebacker. Sometimes Alondra Johnson will even come out, and Eric Sutton and Johnson were on the field on the last play. And that's just communication on the sideline, making sure that you know what formation defensively you have out there and the personnel is correct.
So it's 1st and 10, Edmonton. Ball at the Calgary 39. Green has the ball batted down. Big Jeff Traversy puts his mitts in front of that pass.
Well, I talked whenever we saw the stats about the rushing for Edmonton. Well, forget about it now. They're behind, and they might as well just drop back and throw the rock, because that's the only way they're going to come back in this game. And yeah, a lot of that passing yardage for the Calgary Stampeders came in the first half. They really have had trouble in the second half moving against this Edmonton defense.
Well, the Eskimos have won 5 of their 6 games in the regular season, rushing for 200 yards plus. Way off that today as they go to the air. And a big change up on offense. Here's Green rolling. Will he run? No, he'll throw deep to Terry Vaughn. It's tipped. Oh, and just over the outstretched arm of Vaughn, Jack Kellogg on the coverage for Calgary.
When you're a defensive back, you have to make a quick decision when the football is in the air. And I'm talking about it happens just like that. And Jack Kellogg had to decide whether or not to stay with Terry Vaughn or go for the football. He decided to gamble and take a shot at the football, and he just got his hands on it. Here's the gamble right here. Jack Kellogg came underneath Terry Vaughn and dove for the ball. He just got his fingertips on it, because if he doesn't touch this football, see him gamble, cut underneath. If he doesn't touch it, Vaughn's in the end zone with the football in his hands.
So a field goal situation for Edmonton. A 46-yard attempt for Fleming. He's already got one from that distance in this game. Ball is down, kicked, and wide. Marvin Coleman has it in the end zone, running some time down, still has it, can get out if he wants to, backtracks. Nobody's touched him yet, and finally runs out to give up a single point. But it may have taken 30 seconds before he was finally pushed out of bounds. One for the Eskimos on the missed 46-yard field goal. Stampeders set to go on offense. You know, Dave Dickinson has spread the ball to everybody except this man, 83, Travis Moore, the number 2 leading receiver in the CFL, hasn't caught one yet today.
Had a great regular season. First year for Travis Moore, over 1,000 yards, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him involved before it's over.
First down, Stampeders. The handoff to Kelvin Anderson. Straight up the hash mark. Gain of about 5. 2nd and 5 Stampeders. And Moore, of course, playing emotionally for his own brother Kelvin, who injured his neck with the Cincinnati Bengals this year.
Yeah, Travis Moore writes Kelvin's initials on his wristband. He has, since he injured himself in a preseason game in Cincinnati, injured neck. They thought he was paralyzed. He's somewhat recovered and is in rehab now, but has been a real inspiration for Travis Moore, who almost quit the game.
They talk every day. Here's Dickinson ducking the rush and is brought down. A sack, and it's Doug Peterson putting the grab on Dickinson. And so the Stampeders will have to punt.
Really, the Edmonton defense in the second half have done their job. They really have. When you think about the big turnover from Alonzo Johnson, well, the Edmonton defense held Calgary to a field goal. And now they're really doing their job. They're making Calgary punt the football and giving Nealon Green the opportunity to come back and try and win this one.
Martino's punt taken by the Gizmo. Tries to beat the coverage to get outside. And the Stampeders, Greg Frères is there to meet him on the 30-yard line as the coverage team strings out the return from the Gizmo. Left, but not right.
Right now, get a 28-point winter checkup, oil, lube, and filter, tire rotation, and a bonus emergency road kit. All for just $29.95. Only at Canadian Tire.
11 minutes and 12 seconds and ticking left to go in this football game. Wally Buono Stampeders leading 27-11.
Did Gizmo Williams fumble this football before he was down? It looked pretty close. It's hard to see his knee when that ball came out.
The Eskimos with 6 receivers. Complete to Terry Vaughn over the middle. Kellogg wrestles him to the ground. Short gain on the play. That's 5 yards for Vaughn. And the Eskimos, the so-called vaunted running team, is staying in the air with no running backs in the backfield.
Yeah, they have to now, Mark. I mean, they're behind the 8 ball, so to speak. They got to throw the football on every down, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Nealon Green go into the hurry-up offense very soon.
Second down. 5. Mills crashing into the Calgary defense to about the 40-yard line. The first down marker is across the 41.
They're going to bring him in and measure this.
Traversy looks like he's nicked and is signaling to the Calgary sideline. He's got to come out.
Mark, Pilon will go in for Jeff Travesey as they measure and take a look at this one, see how close they are. It looks like they'll just be about an inch short.
It'll be third down and a couple of inches as Pilon comes in for Traversey.
But no question that they're going to have to gamble here. I mean, you would anyway, that short.
That was the second running play in 19 for the Eskimos here in the second half. Third down gamble. Green will sneak and have the necessary inches.
Here's got to be one of the concerns, though, for the Edmonton coaching staff in getting behind. Number one, they've struggled throwing the football. You know, no question about that. They haven't been able to run the football, and you have to credit the Calgary defense here when you compare those numbers. Kelvin Anderson having the better afternoon. Troy Mills coming into the game was going to be featured in the Edmonton offense. And then when you get Nealon Green, a young quarterback, in the hurry up, you're wondering about his play calling ability because he's just so young still, and will he be able to call the right plays at the right time?
First down, Eskimos. Green with all kinds of time will air it out deep for Herbie. There's Hampton. It's intercepted. William Hampton step for step on the coverage with Herbie, and he picks off Nealon Green.
8 interceptions in the regular season for William Hampton. That was a big one in the playoffs.
The Stampeders take over.
You know what I'm saying? I got underneath help.
William Hampton just said that's a gimme. His 9th interception of the season, the 4th turnover by the Eskimos.
Yeah, and when you get 9 on the year and you're playing like William Hampton did this year, you can bait a quarterback to throw the football. He talked about getting help underneath. That's why he was high and was ready for that ball when it was delivered.
Kelvin Anderson carrying the mail for Calgary. Gain of about 5 on the play. And he's slow to get up, and he's been favoring a gimpy ankle late in the season. Came out of a couple of games with it. Brock Preston was left off the roster to get AJ back on today. And
that's what he's limping at, and that's exactly what it is. No Rock Preston, what they'd have to do is go to 5 receivers if they took Kelvin Anderson out and played Dwayne Ford.
Here's Dickinson, far side. It's complete to Aubrey Cummings. And a Calgary first down.
And that's kind of the gamble that Wally Buono takes when he puts Kelvin Anderson in the lineup, even though he's been a little nicked. Now, he's played the whole regular season. He played the last week of the season, so he felt like he was okay to go. But, you know, if he gets hurt, he doesn't have Rock Preston on the roster, but he felt, especially playing against Nealon Green in a running Edmonton offense, Alondra Johnson was very important.
The game was 11 on the completion to Cummings. Dickinson out of the backfield to Dwayne Ford, and he's driven out of bounds by Terry Ray. A gain of about 6 on the play to the big fullback, Dwayne Ford.
Still looking at Kelvin Anderson's ankle, and at this point in the game, you love to have, if you're Calgary, 2 backs out on the field because you want to run the football as much as you can. Here's where Kelvin Anderson got hurt. Terry Ray ripped him down, threw him on the ground, and kind of rolled on his legs.
2nd and 5. Flags on the play as it's blown down.
But Mark, if you're the Calgary Stampeders, you know, with 7 minutes, just over 7 minutes left, you want to run the ball and chew up the clock. And with Kelvin Anderson
Legal
on the bench,
Calgary, number 53, still 2nd down.
It makes it that much more difficult because when you throw the football,
after today's Calgary
you
can
have bad things happen to you.
Well,
it's the coffee you can count
Marcus
on.
Crandall is warming up on the sideline and still staying in contact with the offensive spotters for Edmonton. It may be the end of Nealon Green's appearance here in the West semifinal.
And it's not a bad call.
Dickinson pressured, rolling right, and will throw it out of bounds to safety. right into Brad Miller's arms, the defensive line coach on the Eskimo bench.
And a penalty flag.
There's a late flag down by where Dickinson was, and
he took a shot.
Leroy Blue may get nailed.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Edmonton, number 89, first down Calgary.
Oh, man.
That's a bad penalty. You had him flushed, he threw the ball away, and you take a roughing the quarterback penalty.
Yeah, anytime you get roughing the quarterback, it's a bad one to take, but when you were getting the ball back...
He took 3 steps after the ball was away.
And he gave him the two-hander in the back. You know, and I don't think he was at the hockey game last night, but he didn't need to do that.
Time ticking now, under 7 minutes to go. The handoff to Dwayne Ford, and what a bulldozer. Very close to a first down. The Western grad carrying 2 or 3 Eskimos on his back.
Well, that's a big penalty, because now you just churn up the clock. You got the ball in Edmonton's end, so even if you punt it, they're going to have to go the whole distance of the field to try and score and come back. So when you think that the Edmonton Eskimos, if Blue doesn't hit the quarterback late, are probably taking the football around their own 35, 40-yard line after a punt. And now they got to look and watch Calgary with the ball in their hands in a second and short situation.
Less than a yard to the first down for the Stampeders. 6:39 to play. The veteran Leroy Blue has been discontent in Edmonton this season.
Interesting to see what happens with Leroy Blue next year, because he's a free agent at the end of this season, and he hasn't been happy, and at times management haven't been happy with him.
Second and less than a yard. Dickinson will sneak.
On the quarterback sneak.
And
it is
Porter signaling they've got it, and it is a first down Calgary. And so they continue to hold on to the ball. Time is ticking. 6:10 to go in the game. Dave Dickinson has been sharp. 278 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very close to his average, averaging just under 300 per game in games against Edmonton this year.
You know, their concern coming in, the Calgary Stampeders, was that they didn't want to give the game away. They didn't want to throw interceptions, fumble the football, and Dickinson hasn't thrown one in this football game.
Kelvin Anderson back in the game. He gets the ball and runs into an Edmonton blitz. Simmons and Melvin Hunter greet him at the line of scrimmage. Gain of nothing on the play. And Simmons is all worked up.
The score doesn't matter when these two teams play each other. It really doesn't. And it doesn't matter what game they're playing either. You give a bunch of checkerboards and put them out in the parking lot, and they'd be in a fist fight out there.
Full contact checkers. 5:15 to go in the game. 2nd and 10, Calgary. Here's Dickinson at center field. Intended for Pitts. He's got it. Right at the first down marker, close to the 35.
All-time leading receiver in Canadian Football League history.
Yes, he'll go toe-to-toe with Danny McManus for the most outstanding player award. Grey Cup week.
And that's what he's done in the playoffs. And that's also updated. Darren Flutie, of course, played today for Hamilton. They won that game. So Pitt's creeping up that ladder as well.
4 more catches and he'll join Flutie and Miles at the top. Handoff, Dwayne Ford. And a train wreck at the 35. A gain of about 2 for Ford.
You know, a lot of people were wondering why Kelvin Anderson wasn't picked from the Calgary Stampeders as their nominee for outstanding player, and you could make an argument for Kelvin Anderson, but Alan Pitts had a great year this year with over 1,400 yards. He broke the record. Now that's a career record, it's not a season record. But you know what? Alan Pitts demands a double team. He influences the whole defense when he's on the field, and that's why they chose him this year as outstanding player.
And amazing, his first nomination after playing for so many years in Doug Flutie's shadow. Here's Dickinson looking deep to Pitts. Some contact in the end zone. Fogle and Pitts bump shoulders. It's incomplete, but no flags.
Alan Pitts, number 18, the intended receiver.
Well, no flag, no foul, but there was contact down by the 1-yard line there, and you wonder. The Edmonton Eskimos may have got away with one. Here's the end of the play. The contact happened just before there between Fogle and Alan Pitts. The ball popped up, and the refs are saying it was good timing by Anthony Fogle. Here's a nice look at it. Pitts on the seam route, something he's made a career out of. A little bit of contact just before the ball got there, and he did get away with one.
Mark McLaughlin from 41 The Gizmo is deep in his own end zone as McLaughlin attempts a 41-yarder. It's good. McLaughlin splits the uprights. The Stampeders open their lead. With 3:18 to go in this game, is this the last look we get at the great Gizmo in his 13th season?
Nice knowing you guys.
There have been hints of retirement. Just said, nice knowing you guys. So perhaps that is a telling story. 26 punt return, touchdowns, 28 more called back by penalties.
Reserve his spot in the Hall of Fame.
First and 10 at their 35.
Marcus Crandall at quarterback, replacing Nealon Green in the Eskimo offense. It's complete for a first down. Scott Dybert with the catch for Edmonton out of the backfield.
Number 9,
you know,
Marcus Crandall.
When you talk about Gizmo Williams and whether or not it is his last game,
number 23.
He's going to think about it in the offseason.
Crandall will go to the sidelines to converse. When we come back, Edmonton stays on offense. The Gizmo in good humor.
Just tell me where.
Despite the fact his team is down deep here, 30-11, and this might be his last game ever in the CFL after an incredible career. Here's Crandall at quarterback, deep downfield. It's behind Terry Bond, who tried to one-hand it.
Terry Bond, number 3, is incomplete.
Gizmo Williams is really not talking about a whole lot about whether or not he'll retire. Whenever you ask him, he'll say, I'm going to wait till the offseason and think about it one more time. I talked to Hugh Campbell about it before the game, and he said he's not sure. But he did say this. He said, you know, in his rookie season, I said to Giz, I said, listen.
Nick, I just want to give back Ron Lancaster. That's all. I just want to give back Coach Lancaster. Because he said I'd never get there, but I'm coming in there, baby. I want to be like Wayne. I want to get in early.
But Hugh Campbell told me that.
There's a completion to Terry Vaughn and an Edmonton first down. Crandall has been christened at quarterback.
Yeah, he told me that he asked Gizmo Williams in his first year, and he said, listen, I'm going to tell you, with your ability, if you don't break one for a touchdown every single year at least once, we're going to fire you. And he has done that every one of his 13 years, and he did it this year, so Hugh Campbell said to me, well, we got to hire him again next year.
First down, Eskimos. Crandall pumps, throws it into the turf. But there are flags on the play.
Again, the target. Holding Eskimos.
Not a terrible move to put Crandall in the game. I mean, Nealon Green struggles as a passer at the best of times this year, and Crandall more of a drop-back passer, and that's what you got to do now to come back.
Well, we talked about the Gizmo in his 13th season. He was alluding to Ron Lancaster, saying, I want to pass.
Holding Edmonton, number 57, first down repeated.
19 years in the CFL, so the Giz is still 6 away.
I
think that's
well, you know what, Mark? The guy's in great shape. And that's first and foremost. He's had a few injury problems, but he's healthy now. He works out harder than any player you'll ever meet. So he probably could. And in fact, Hugh Campbell told me he could come back. He's physically able to come back.
Crandall back to pass. Complete to Dybert, alone on the sidelines. Whoa, and he took a big hit. Kevin Johnson, the rookie out of Ohio State, stunned him.
Well, I think the Calgary Stampeders have stunned the Edmonton Eskimos today, because coming in, I truly believe Edmonton felt, because of the talent they had, this was going to be a closer game. But you have to credit Wally Buono. 7 times in the 10 years he's coached, he's had this team in first place.
Crandall intercepted. Aldi Henry has it for the Stampeders.
7 times in first place. The other 3 in the 10 years he's been the head coach here, they finished in second place. If you want to build a blueprint on how to build a football team in the Canadian Football League, go ask Wally Buono for it, because he has designed it.
10 consecutive playoff appearances in the 90s. He may well be indeed the coach of the 90s, as Henry makes the 4th Calgary interception on the day, the first thrown by Crandall.
Well, and win, lose, or draw as far as the Grey Cup goes, or the Western Final for the Calgary Stampeders, I think they are the team of the 90s.
Mike McCoy at quarterback now for Calgary. Kelvin Anderson staying in the game, sore ankle and all, with a big rush. Very close to a first down.
He's not going to throw. He's not going to throw. No, he's not. No, he's not. Right at you. Bam. I was like, oh, I ain't even move.
Aldi Henry and Alondra Johnson. Well, both favoring interceptions today.
You know, Mark, the pressure was on Calgary, believe it or not. I mean, they had the better record and really were the better team. But when you're at home, expected to win, the pressure's on you. Chris Morris obviously disappointed on the Edmonton sideline.
Handoff to Johnson, and he's hit hard and short of the first down.
Yeah, talk about that pressure. Calgary will go over to BC now to play in that final with the pressure on the BC Lions.
A very star-studded and talented team, the BC Lions. The question is, do they have the cohesion to go all the way?
Well, I mean, the media across the country have expected the BC Lions to self-destruct throughout the season. They didn't do it. They still think it could happen in the playoffs, and I know there's a whole bunch of people watching this game in BC that think differently.
The Gizmo is back to return this punt. He takes it on the run, close to the sideline, and has to step out. Aldi Henry's right there. No return for the Gizmo. There's a flag on the play. There's somebody on the Calgary sideline with a red Stampeder jersey and a helmet. May have been involved in an altercation. Fossey, 49, not in the starting lineup.
No. And he was over there talking to Gizmo, so that's what the penalty was. Full credit to Dave Dickinson. Dave Dickinson banged up coming into this game. You talk to him before the game and I say, Dave, how's your shoulders? And he gives you that little smile and he says, they're okay. You know, at this time of year, everybody's a little banged up, but when it's the shoulder and your throwing arm, it's a lot more important for quarterback. And he's played past that, played through the injuries, and really executed a George Cortez game plan that was on the money here today.
Well, he stepped up big time in his first playoff start at quarterback for the Stampeders. And you know, this has been a tough season for injuries for the Stampeders. They've gone through 3. Ray Burris, he's in the press box, still rehabbing his knee after having surgery. Mike McCoy, who was working as an investment analyst in the United States, stepped up and took up the slack when both Dickinson and Burris were hurt. Mills with the catch, and he's bounced around like a pinball by the Calgary defense.
Well, that's where George Cortez comes in with this Calgary offense. When you consider that he played with 3 different quarterbacks and still put together the great record that they did, you got to give a lot of credit to the offensive coordinator. I mean, you take away Danny McManus from the Hamilton, and that's nothing against the backups in Hamilton, but do they do the same thing? I've just posed the question. Damon Allen in BC.
Mills running hard late in the game for the Eskimos, and a Edmonton first down. Some observers wondering whether Cortez might be ready for a head coaching job in this league, and there will be a vacancy in Saskatchewan.
Well, you know, and I asked him yesterday when they were practicing about that, and he said, you know, that's something that we don't talk about during the football season, and that's justifiable, but he will be the #1 candidate for coach, I'm sure.
Crandall complete to Terry Vaughn. He's down at about the 38 and close to another Edmonton first down. Kelvin Anderson, the #3 running back in the country this year, 1,306 yards.
Yeah, we get ready for next week.
And he's ready for next week, as he says. despite perhaps hurting an ankle again.
Yeah, he's got the week, and he'll be back. He did come in the game after he hurt it, so he'll be all right. But, you know, that's a great rivalry already, that one, BC and Calgary. They've really developed that this year. BC winning 3 of the 4 against the Calgary Stampeders. The last one they lost right here. Haven't scored a touchdown here, though. But, of course, they're not playing here in the West Final. They're playing in the Dome in BC.
Flags are down on the field on that incomplete pass to Tolbert. Alan Pitts.
Yeah, talking about the BC Lions in that matchup next week. Of course, Alan Pitts nudged Damon Allen for outstanding player.
Holding, Edmonton, number 56. First down repeated.
Well, you have to wonder, too, if some voters are thinking career achievement, too. When you consider that Alan Pitts, with those great years, played second fiddle to Doug Flutie.
You know, and it's not right, although you could make an argument for Damon Allen, and I have many times, but it's not right to say that Damon Allen should have been there, because that would be taking something away from Alan Pitts' season, and I don't think that's fair. Alan Pitts deserves the nomination.
1,449 yards, 10 touchdowns. Many of those catches under double coverage. Here goes Crandall deep, looking for Terry Vaughn, but overthrows him as he opens up the big arm.
It's incomplete. I think, Mark, you make a great point about Alan Pitts, and that is he does it in double coverage. We talked about their offensive line earlier in the game, and Rocco Romano.
Well, he rode the horse after winning the Grey Cup and got the All-Star selection, the only O-lineman in Calgary.
Well, we talked about them early in the game, but they're really coming together now. I mean, with Childress and Ram and Rocco Romano and McNeil playing together for the back half of the season, they're playing well when they should be.
Second down, Crandall, complete to Terry Vaughn. Hustling to the 45, but he'll be about 3.5 yards shy of the first down marker.
I want to tell you how confident Wally Buono was about his team in warm-up. The guys were coming out and warming up before the game, and I was over there standing beside him talking to him. We had a nice conversation. I said, do you ever gauge the warm-up and decide whether or not your team's ready? He said, I never worry about that. They had a great week of practice, and I think they're ready to play. Shook my hand, walked away, and said, I'll see you next week in BC.
That's confidence, but not overconfidence. And, you know, he closed practice here on Friday, not to keep the media out, because he says for the most part we don't know what's going on in practice anyway, but he wanted to instill in his players the importance of this time of year to make sure that they were not overconfident and not complacent, as he said they were in '97 when they lost to an 8-10 team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, in the semifinal. To the sideline, Scott Dybert has it, and he's rocked again. He's taken a few big shots. That one from Coleman. How about Don Matthews, struggling through injuries this year, a season of 6 wins. It's his first losing season since something like high school when he was coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. 77 before he arrived in Edmonton as an assistant. Hugh Campbell hired him out of high school. That was his last time. When he was in high school, he had a losing season. He made a lot of changes in camp. That hurt him early. Then he had the injury problem.
Crandall deep, wide open. Terry Vaughn knocked out of bounds by Darrell Hall at the 12-yard line of the Stampeders. 6 seconds to go, so perhaps a band-aid on the wounds if the Eskimos can score here late, but it's academic. The Stampeders leading it 30-11.
Yeah, and Wally Buono does not care about the touchdown now. He just doesn't want to get anybody hurt with just 6 seconds left and probably a chance for 1 or maybe 2 plays. He's got this one done. You know, and on the other sideline, Wally's trying to call a timeout right now. Make sure he has the right personnel on the field.
Leroy Blue, you speculated on where he might be next year?
Yeah, that'll be up in the air in the offseason. Don Matthews, what he has done, though, is he's built a young team. And when you look at what Nealon Green potentially could be as a quarterback,
he's emotional. Look at him. The crowd now standing at McMahon Stadium, 6 seconds to play. And the Stampeders on the verge of going to the Western Final in Vancouver to face the BC Lions next Sunday.
Again, if you were going to draw it up in paper coming up, this is the final we want to see. Calgary Stampeders against the BC Lions. Hamilton
Away center, Donnie Ashley has the Eskimo touchdown with 12-yard catch.
Never quit, says Leroy Blue. Even though they're going to lose this football game, the rivalry brings emotions right to the edge. The last Battle of Alberta in the Millennium. Here's Ashley with some words.
Well, anytime these two teams play, we've talked about the rivalry many times, but it always becomes personal. And when it's personal, the score starts to become irrelevant. If you're way behind, you still want to keep going every single down.
John Matthews looking on as the Eskimos go for the two-point conversion with 2 seconds to play in the game. Crandall rolling right. Will pass. No good. Intended for Rick Walters, but too high. Time is not ticked off the clock. There's still 2 seconds showing.
There's the future in Edmonton.
Right, because they're forced into the convert situation, the time would not roll, so there will be time for one more play as Green looks on.
Touchdown. Crandall to Donnie Ashley getting inside the coverage of Greg Freres. Too little, too late.
I'm not sure if that's a disparaging statement or not in the Calgary end zone.
It's either that or a real lame touchdown dance.
That turf is sticky.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody back home in Hamilton. We did it. And back here in Calgary, hello, Alexa. Hello, honey. See you in a couple hours.
We'll be home for dinner.
It's on. I know. I see the red lights.
He's got the TV thing figured out. He's a veteran. There's Travis Moore with his son Trey. Boy, you know, you think about the emotion that's flowing through Travis Moore right now. He told me he was going to quit football when he saw his brother lying in a hospital bed, but he said it was his brother Kelvin who forced him to come back to Calgary and continue to play. He had his best year, and he credits it to the inspiration of his brother.
The final play of the Western semifinal as Marvin Coleman downs the ball. The Stampeders defeat the Eskimos 30-17 in the Western semifinal. When you look, Matthews will have to go back to the drawing board for next season as Pitts gets set to go to BC. The Gizmo, will he be back for another season? Wally Guano, 10 straight seasons in the playoffs in the 90s. And on to the West Final as well. Let's go down to Steve Armitage with Dave Dickinson.
Thank you very much, Mark. Dave, you made your first start in the playoff. You come away with an impressive win.
Well, we played well the first half, and then Edmonton made some nice adjustments in that second half. And, you know, it was a good, hard-fought game. You know, BC's waiting for us, and they've had a great year, but we wanted to get there and at least give it another shot.
Now that you've got the win under your belt, can you admit to being a little nervous?
Well, I mean, I'm a nervous type, even though I look calm out there, but you know, playoff games happen this way. They're tough and intense, and I'm glad to get the wins.
Congratulations, Dave. Calgary Stampeders now go on to the Western Final at BC Place Stadium next Sunday against the BC Lions with a 30-17 victory over the Edmonton Eskimos in the latest Battle of Alberta. The celebration has begun for the Stampeders and their fans here at McMahon Stadium, coming off a 30-17 win over the Eskimos. With me now, the Stampeders, Alondra Johnson. AJ, congratulations. The defensive game plan worked to perfection.
It did. We did a great job. Guys were attentive to what was going on around us, and I give my D-line credit. They did an awesome job getting upfield and keeping D-line in check.
You read the offense of the Eskimos perfectly. You even came up with an interception.
I got lucky on that one. Greg Pierce, I guess he interfered with the passer, and the ball came to me, and the next thing you know, I had it, and I just took off upfield as far as I can go.
AJ, congratulations. Good luck against the BC Lions.
Thank you. We'll need it.
Alondra Johnson and the Stampeders heading to the Western Final at BC Place Stadium next Sunday against the BC Lions. The CFL on CBC continues in just a moment. The sun has set on the season for the Edmonton Eskimos. It will rise one more time for the Calgary Stampeders following a 30-17 win in the Western semifinal. Mark, Glenn?
Well, that beautiful Chinook arch boded well today for the Stampeders, and Dave Dickinson really demonstrated that he's playoff ready.
As well as he played in the regular season, you never know with your starting quarterback what's going to happen when you turn the intensity volume up in the playoffs, and Dave Dickinson answered the bell big time.
Nealon Green had 8 yards rushing today.
Yeah, and credit the defense of the Calgary Stampeders. They held that rushing game for Edmonton to 61 yards total.
Western final is up next. It'll be BC and Calgary. BC beat Calgary 3 times this year. Steve?
Well, Mark, the odds makers had the Stampeders favored in this one by 8.5. They were pretty close. The final was 30-17. The East and West finals are next on CFL on CBC. Montreal hosting Hamilton in the East, and in the West, it'll be the BC Lions at home to the Calgary Stampeders. Grey Cup Saturday will feature a classic, the 1994 game, BC and Baltimore. Grey Cup Sunday starts at 3 Eastern with your host, Brian Williams. And then the Grey Cup game itself, we hope that'll be a classic. The 87th Grey Cup, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. And who knows, it could be the Calgary Stampeders in the big one. They're going to the Western Final.
CBC Sports, Canada's Olympic Network.